Suddenly when I'm robbing, I'm it. Everybody has to do what I say, and it turned out I had a right knack for it.
What was the buzz like robbing a bank?
It was the best feeling in the world, seriously. I still miss it. I was a very frightening man. Robbing places never terrified me. It gave me a buzz, and it becomes like an addiction. You can't stop it. I was on so many robberies that they all become like one. I was mentally ill, there's no doubt about it. Got diagnosed later on as a psychopath. I got arrested at gunpoint. First I got 3 years, 5 years, 12 years, then 8 life sentences.
8 life sentences?
35 years behind bars, you know. I went into the system as a wild lunatic kid. I became manic, and then what I done was I ripped the zipper off my jeans and I ripped out my veins in my wrist.
My God. Did you ever come across Charlie Bronson?
Yeah, I love Charlie. He's a good friend of mine. He became our sort of hero because he was our one weapon against the system. I wanted to fight everybody. I wanted to fight the system. I was involved in a riot the first day I got to Dover.
People would know you for who you are and what you did, and they gave you a lot of respect.
Yeah, they weren't really respect, it was fear. Prison runs on paranoia and violence.
How do you look back at that and think, I've spent 35 years behind bars?
With great regret. If I went back into prison again and they gave me a sentence, a big sentence, I would...
Razor, welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you, Dodge.
Yeah.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, lovely beer. This one, I've been waiting for this one for a long time. The amount of messages that have come in going, you've got to get Razor on, you've got to get Razor on. And they've been talking about this for the last 3 or 4 years, and you're finally here.
Blimey.
Happy days.
Yeah.
Let's roll the way back. How did you end up becoming Britain's most prolific armed bank robber?
Well, that was a bit of, that was a bit of a long journey, to be honest. It wasn't overnight. I got nicked in the 70s for when I was juvenile for something that I didn't do, and ended up getting off it. It was a load of burglaries that the police had beat me and my pal up and made us admit to. And in the end, it sort of turned me where I was very childish and very immature. And I thought, right, if you want a criminal, I'll give you a criminal 24/7. And I just went at it. So I ended up in Send, which was a detention centre back in those days, a very terrible place. The police are investigating it now, as it happens. They were in touch with me a couple of weeks ago. And in there, I met a guy whose brother had a couple of firearms for sale. It was a sawn-off single-barreled shotgun with no ammo, and a Luger pistol from the Second World War with a bent barrel and no magazine. But they looked the part, so I ended up getting them off him and set out at the age of 15 to do a few robberies, like what I'd seen on the telly. Unfortunately, it wasn't, I think we nicked 30 quid in our first. No, we nicked a tenner on our first robbery, so that was £3.33 each. And the other guys got disillusioned, but I never did. I just loved the excitement of it, of being in control. That was the thing. I'd been bullied and I'd been beaten up by the police, beaten up by prison officers. And for the first time, when I had a gun in my hand, people listened to me. So it gave me a sort of feeling of control, and that was what I loved. And I became addicted to that all through my life. And that's how I ended up doing so many robberies. And I was one of those guys who people would turn up at my doorstep, like a little firm, and say, we're doing a post office down in Surrey or something, do you fancy coming in? And I just drop everything and say, yeah, I just love to go and rob. And it led to me spending a lot of years in prison, as it happens, over 3 decades, because I was never a very successful criminal. That's the thing. And I think you find most of the people, well, nearly everyone in jail, they're not successful criminals. It's as simple as that. They're rubbish at what they do, and they end up serving bundles of years like I did, and it becomes like an addiction. You can't stop it until something happens to you that you decide, well, that's it for me.
Where was it when you actually started going into proper bank robberies? You started off like robbing post offices, but if you just so the listener and the viewer out there can understand, what was the post office robbery like in the 80s, would you say?
To be honest with you, yeah. I'd never done a post office in my life. Right? Okay. But I started out robbing shops. The first one was a record shop. This is amateur stuff when I'm 15. When I started going into it a bit more professionally, it was rent offices in the old days.
Rent office, what's that?
Yeah. If you lived on a big estate in the old days, they had an office in the middle of the estate where they would deal with repairs, and you paid your rent there every week. Okay. And they kept the money in a safe. they've done away with them all now. And we used to go in, jump over the counter, fire a gun up in the air, and then rob the safes. And that was quite good money. That was like, I went from robbing shops for a tenner to robbing rent offices 300-400 quid.
Okay.
And then from there, I went on to bigger things. I started robbing building societies. Then I started robbing banks, security vans, post office vans. And it became kind of like an everyday thing for me. You know, I'd get up in the morning and think, do I need any money? Yeah, let's go and rob something. But yeah, I became absolutely addicted to it. It was stupid, really. And it really, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, it fucked me up for the rest of my life, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I had some funny experiences doing it over the years, and, you know, I've written books about it, and it sounds funny when you're reading it, but when you're actually doing it, it's a different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason why I was so successful, I think, or not successful, but at crime itself, but at robbery, which was my game, was the fact that I was a very frightening man. I mean, look at me now, I'm about 12 stone. In those days, I was 18 stone. And I was I could proper shout out, you know what I mean? I could proper growl. And I wasn't afraid. Robbing places never terrified me. It gave me a buzz. And I remember we went through all the security stuff that they put on over the years. Like, I remember the first time we went to rob a post office van, and the guy I was working with said to me, "Bring an axe." And I thought, what? Bring an axe? I said, I'll bring the gun. He went, no, bring an axe. And he wouldn't tell me why. So we're plotted up waiting for this post office van up in Tulse Hill. It pulls up, guy gets out with a box, and as he's walking across the pavement, put the gun up to him, bum, me pal, drop the box. And as soon as he drops the box, legs shoot out the box, telescopic legs. So they're made out of sort of rolled steel, and they come out about 10 foot long in each corner, so you can't get the box into a car.
Oh, okay.
So that was their security thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So then he went, get the axe. And I had to chop the legs off. Yeah. I had to chop through these legs on the pavement, sparks flying up everywhere. Yeah. So then I realised what the axe was for. And you had to face that sort of stuff. Like, they had lockable doors at one time. If you went into a bank, the doors would close behind you, and they could press a button on the other side and you wouldn't get out.
Yeah. What
we used to do is take a breeze block in a holdall and just drop it at the door as we went in, so the doors couldn't close.
Oh, okay.
They had shooting screens at one time. I don't know if you ever heard of them, where the screen shoots straight up.
Yeah, I remember that. What year was that roughly? What decade was that?
That was about the 80s.
Okay, so straight what you're saying, you're going over the counter, put the gun on, and the press of a bang.
Yeah, the screen went up.
Jeez, right? Yeah, I see that.
And they done away with them when a mate of mine went in and done one, and he had his head over, and the screen lifted him right up and nearly broke his neck. So they said, right, we won't have them no more. You know, everything that they brought out over the years, we combated. So it's kind of like, it was like a real job. You had to see what they were doing next, and then you had to plan accordingly. I was never a great criminal. I weren't great at planning. Other people done all that. Basically, I was a thug with a gun.
Okay.
And I was too lazy and too selfish to work for anything. I wanted everything now. And so that's what kept me going. Years, I kept getting nicked, going into jail. I got 3 years. Then I come out, I got 5 years for possession of a firearm. Done that, got out. Then I got 12 years for armory. Then I got 19 years. Then my last lot at the Bailey was 8 life sentences under the 2 Strike Act.
8 life sentences?
Yeah.
For robbing?
Yeah. Yeah, the 2 Strike Act. They've done away with it now, but it was your second strike, you were going away for life. I was up for 8 robberies, got found guilty, got a life sentence on each robbery, and 10 years concurrent on each firearms charge. So 8 lots of 10 years.
My God. How old were you then when you got that last lot?
That was 1999. I was I think it was in my 40s, 39, 40, something like that. And I thought, that's it. My brief, actually, my QC said to me when I got downstairs, he said, that's it for you. He said, because the sentence was brand new. It had only come out in 97. And he went, we don't know how these sentences work, but it looks at the moment that if you've got a lot of previous, you're never getting out of prison. It's a life sentence. So I kind of resigned myself to that. And been in prison loads of times. I ended up in Belmarsh for 2 years, then Whitemore for 3 years. And my son died when I was in Whitemore, and that was the spur I needed to stop me, to change my life, if you like. But because I'd been at it for so long, it was very hard.
Yeah.
And prison, even though they talk a lot about rehabilitation, they don't offer nothing really. They don't. Silly courses where you go on, you do 2 weeks, you tick a few boxes, and that's you done. You know, that's about the strength of it. But there was one prison in the whole country called Grendon.
I've heard that's brutal, right?
No,
is that good, is it?
It's the best prison in the country.
But isn't it, aren't you mixing with like every type of naughty
You would
person?
think. A lot of people get the wrong impression about it. There's 210 people the prison holds.
Okay.
So that's only 210 people. Child sex offenders who go there do a different type of therapy to normal prisoners. So they do it on a wing where we're not.
Oh, I see. I thought everyone mixed together.
They do, but on exercise and stuff like that. But you'd have people on your wing say I was on C wing. There'd be the likes of me, Ray Bishop, Tony Argent, you know, loads of sort of normal prisoners, ODCs, ordinary decent criminals. But you'd also have people on there for rape. You'd have people on there for battering kids, you know, not sexually, but like there was a guy on my group who killed a baby by punching him in the stomach. And people who bash up old grannies and all that, they're the kind of people you got to sit with and listen to their stories. And, you know, it does your head in, mate. Seriously, you're there day after. I was 5 years in there.
Is that there's no choice in that?
No, it's voluntary.
It's voluntary. I've heard it before. Okay. Why did you want to choose to go and put yourself in that situation?
I'll tell you what it was. I'm serving 8 life sentences right now. I'm never getting out.
Yeah.
And my son died when I was in Whitemore Prison. So I looked around and I thought, do you know what? I've got to change my life. And I couldn't see any prison I could go in order to show them that I was fit enough to be released, except Grendon. Someone said to me, go to Grendon. I went, what? You're joking.
Yeah.
But my brother-in-law had been there 3 times. He's a lifer. He's been doing his life sentence since 1986 and he's still in.
He's still in today?
Yeah, yeah. He killed a geezer who interfered with his daughter, and every time he goes up for parole and they ask him if he's sorry he done it, he says, no, dig him up, I'll kill him again. Wow, so he's, you know, he doesn't do himself no favours.
No. What's his name?
Tony Hogan. And
so he's done 39 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And out of principle, he's saying, I don't regret that.
Yeah.
And he's happy just to carry on staying in there.
Yeah, he's institutionalised by now, obviously. But yeah, I was there at the murder in 86, but I was out then, but different story. He had been to Grendon 3 times because he was a lifer, and what he was in for, they tried to test him by sending him there. And I spoke to him in private and he said, look, it's a really good prison. He said, it can really help you. He said, it couldn't help me because I won't say, yeah, I'm sorry, I've done my crime. Yeah. He said, but I'd go there. So I applied. You had to take an IQ test to see if you could understand the therapy. And then you had to go through a selection period. And then when you got there, you were on I think it was F wing for 12 weeks while they watch you before they let you go into the actual prison. A lot of people get shipped out. But through going there, I got into therapy and spent 5 years there, and eventually was sort of on my way to release. But I mean, that was my last sentence. The early sentences, which I'm actually writing a book at the moment. I'm writing my first novel. I've written about 7 or 8 or 9 true books. I'm writing a novel about my time in Sen Detention Centre, but it's fiction, but based on fact. And I mean, back in those days, prisons were unbelievable. Seriously. I mean, what do you want to know about them?
I'm intrigued to see what the prison like back in the 80s and 90s to early noughties to how they are today, how it's changed.
They bear no relation. I mean, I first went in 1976, and in those days it was you got beatings straight away when you come in through the door. You got punched in the face. You know, this is juvenile jail.
Yeah, and
you got absolutely mullered. Seriously, you're stripped naked. You're 14, 15 years old, and they leave you there for 2 hours while they all come in and out laughing at you. And then everything was done with a slap or a punch or a kick. So by the time I was 15, I was already deeply, inured to violence because it was every day they would just punch you in the face casually. But what it done was this. They thought it was an official government policy. It was called the short, sharp shock. And what it was designed for juveniles under the age of 18, usually a first offence. And their game was to treat you so brutally on your first taste of prison that you would never, ever commit crime again. It didn't work. What it actually done was, and I can go round top security prisons today and see the faces of guys that I'd done send with in 1976. And what it done was, it gave us something to rebel against. In the quiet of the evenings in the dorms, we would all be plotting up mischief, crimes we were going to do and screws we were going to kill when we got out. And so we became sort of a cohesive group against the screws. And it taught us to be anti-authority. And when we got out, all we wanted was a bit of payback. We wanted revenge on society for what they just put us through as kids. So it didn't work. And they abolished it in 82 after several children had died. And my first taste of the Old Bailey was at the age of 15 as well, just after DC.
So you just come out of there juvenile?
Yeah, I come out in November.
How long were you in juvenile for?
3 months.
3 months.
And then I was back in January.
Why?
Because I was just a basic criminal.
Just at it again, were you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Sen don't teach you nothing. And once you've been there, you can't get a job.
Okay.
You're a 16-year-old, then they go, what have you got in your background? And you've just done 3 months in a juvenile detention centre. You know, you're not going to be the best pick. So I kind of got out there and met this guy's brother and got a couple of guns off him, went to work doing robberies. I've done about 6 robberies. And we robbed a sweet shop down in Balham, me and my mate. He was a year older than me. And the geezer put up a fight and my mate done him across the head with a bottle of lemonade. So we was nicked for GBH, armed robbery. I think it was 5 armed robberies, 2 attempted robberies, possessing a firearm. So at the age of 15, I'm going up to the Old Bailey for trial, for sentencing. And I think I just turned 16, went up to the Old Bailey, and the judge said, they told us beforehand, if you plead guilty to so-and-so, you get less of a sentence. They said I was going to get a Borstal sentence, and my mate was going to get another whack of Borstal because he'd been already. And we believed it. Pleaded guilty. And the judge said, no, don't make deals. He said, you'll go to prison for 3 years detention and you'll go to prison for 3 years youth custody. I didn't realise what the sentence was. And it was a sentence under Section 53, Paragraph 2 of the Children and Young Persons Act 1933. And the wording was, if a person under the age of 18 committed crimes that would warrant 14 years imprisonment or more in an adult, you can jail them for detention. Now, detention, you didn't get none of your remands. I'd been on remand for 5 months. That didn't count. You got no remission and you got no leaving date. You'd done the sentence. And after 2 years, they'd look at you for parole. I went into the system as a wild lunatic kid, already been up the Old Bailey at 16 for armed robbery and GBH, been convicted, and just fighting everybody along the way. I just didn't give a shit. I didn't want to be in prison and I hated the screws. And they sent us to a unit, me to a unit in Ashford Prison, Old Ashford, which is pulled down in Middlesex.
Yeah.
And there was about 10 kids on this unit. It was right at the top of a prison wing. And they're all under the age of 18 and 6 of them were in for murder. And the rest were a couple of pals of mine who had been on remand with, who also got detention sentences. There was 10 given out that year, I think. And we had a guy who was supposed to be IRA, making bombs and shit, but Pat Maguire, he was exonerated later, but he was in there doing 12 years. And we just like fought against the screws all the time. It became that sort of place. And eventually they shipped us all out and they shipped me to a Borstal called Dover. And got the Dover Borstal and I was just wild. I wanted to escape. I wanted to fight everybody. I wanted to fight the system. I was involved in a riot the first day I got to Dover. And then I ended up battering another kid over something. And they put me down a block in Dover, which is underground. It's up on top of a cliff. And what you had to do down there, it was all stone walls and stone floors. And every morning, 8 o'clock, they'd bring in a bucket a scrubber, finger carbolic soap and a cloth, and you had to scrub the cell. So I'd done this the first day, done it the second day. After the third day, I went, why am I doing this? I'm not doing Borstal. They can't lose me bird, you know what I mean? I've got to do me sentence. So when they come in the next morning, screw come in, put the thing in, I went, take that out. I'm not washing. I'm not scrubbing the floor. He said, you fucking are. I said, oh yeah. I said, fucking watch me. And I just laid on the mattress. So he's gone out, come back about half hour later with 3 other screws, open the door, right, scrub your floor. So the bucket's at the end of the mattress, and I just kicked the bucket and it went over and water went all over their boots, and that was it. They dragged me out, beat the shit out of me, and put me back in another cell, and then come with a bucket and water again and a scrubber. So now I've been beaten for it. I ain't having it. Picked up the bucket, threw it at them, water all over them. And that was the last thing I remember. They all jumped on me. I remember being held down, and it turned out they injected me with Largactol, which was a psychotropic drug in those days. I'd never heard of it. And I woke up 3 days later in Rochester Borstal Hospital Wing under observation for mental health. I was 16.
Yeah.
So I thought, fucking hell, where's my life going? And I was in the hospital there for a long time, and on Largactol. Largactol is...
What's the equivalent of that?
It's a terrible drug.
Okay.
I wouldn't know. They,
what's the feeling you had on it?
You turn into a zombie.
Okay.
Seriously.
Okay.
You think that everything is all the right speed and everything's going well.
Yeah.
But this is how it works, right? They call it the Largactol shuffle. You walk like that with your feet going because you think you're going fast. I'll come out. They let me out once on the wing for association. There was a mate of mine, Vince Kennedy, who I knew outside, and he was on there as well, and he was on Largactol. So we met up, and there was a table tennis table. So Vince said, do you fancy a game of table tennis? So I went, yeah, this is what Largactol's like. So he said, I'll serve. So he threw the ball up in the air. The ball's rolling over there, and he's still bringing his hand back to serve. He thinks the ball's still coming down. And I went, it's over there. And he went, I'll get it. He was gone for 10 minutes, going over to the corner to get the ball. And in the meantime, I was just looking at the light and wandered away, see a telly, and started like thinking things and wandering.
What's it like, ketamine?
It's mullet. Yeah, it kills you. It wipes out sort of, you can't move fast, even though you think you're moving normal.
Yeah.
And it's like a fog in your head all the time, and your body is affected by it as well. So you sort of make stiff movements, the Largactol shuffle. And they had me on that for a long time. And then they said, listen, we're going to let you go up the wing if you behave yourself, but you have to keep taking the medication. They used to give me these pills, injection once a week, and then the pills every morning.
And you're 16 now still?
Yeah.
Oh, God, okay.
So I said, all right then. So they let me up on the wing. Gone up on the wing, and I've decided not to take the pills. So they come in every morning, give me a little cup of pills, and I'm launching them. After about 4 days, I'm sitting there one day by the pool table, and all of a sudden my body starts cramping up, my legs, my arms, I'm like that. I can't stop it. It's just like I've turned into a ball. And 2 screws have had to carry me, put a broom handle through my arms, carried me over to the hospital, and the doctor went, you haven't been taking the pills. He said, that's the side effect, and give me another injection. So I didn't have a clue what they would give me. They never asked or anything, you know what I mean? Eventually in Rochester, they put me on C wing, which was kind of like the top security wing, if you like. It was the newest wing in there. And of course, I found a way to escape out my cell. And Christmas Eve, which is my birthday, we had a plan on my spur. There was about 10 prisoners. I was going to break out my cell Christmas Eve, break them all out, do the night watchman, nick his keys. We had a rope ladder made. We were going to get over the wall, nick a couple of cars, and we'd be in London by Christmas Day. That was the plan. Nah. What happened was, I come out, I've managed to, what I'd done was, the doors were wooden doors, and they had a slit to look through, plastic, like plastic slit, and they had a bolt on the outside and the lock. And I noticed that the cup for the lock was in a wooden door jamb, whereas in most prisons it's steel pole. So I managed to nick a pair of scissors out of the craft room and worked it so that the cup that the lock goes into was now out, and you could only see it on the inside of the cell. So what I'd done was that night, Christmas Eve, I've got a coat hanger ready to do the thing outside, and I've got the scissors ready to undo the screws on the strip. Night watchman comes up, 9 o'clock, comes along and he checks the doors and puts the bolts on. So I had to stand with my foot up against the door because it wasn't going to lock. And he's tested it, saw it was okay, put the bolt on and walked away. So after about 20 minutes, I've undone the lock's already undone, and I've undone the slit, the perspex slit, took the perspex out of it, put the hanger out, and unhooked the bolt on the outside. So I thought, great. So I'm out. Yeah. Now everyone on the Spur's all looking at their things, and I'm going, yeah. They're all going, yeah. And I'm going, keep it down. We'll be home by tomorrow. So I go out along the landing and look down, and the night watchman is in his office. So I thought, right. So I've gone back and I'm talking to my pal through the door. I said, listen, what I'll do is when he comes up to do his next key run, I said he'd be caught on the landing. I said, I'll jump him, take his keys. I didn't even know he didn't have any keys.
Yeah.
They never had no keys. I'll take his keys, let you lot out, and we're off. So, right, yeah. All of a sudden, I hear him coming up the stairs. He ain't meant to be up for another 40 minutes. So there's a recess, a toilet and shower at the end of the Spur. And I go in there. It's all dark in there. The landing's all lit up. So I'm in there and I'm standing up against the wall at the back. And he comes along whistling, turns his key, comes back. I thought he's going downstairs. At that moment, he wanted a piss. So he's coming. He's had a piss. I'm still standing at the back of this room in the dark. And then he's singing away to himself, and he goes to wash his hands, and he looks in the mirror, and he's like, and he can see me, the eyes at the back of the room, right? With that, he's gone, oh my God, and gone to run out. I've picked up a steel bucket, come out after him, crashed him straight on the head with it about 3 times. Now he's laying on the Spur, blood's pooling out of his head, and I'm out with this bucket. And everyone else who was going to come with me I went, I'll get the keys. They went, no, don't want nothing to do with this. I think you've killed him. No, you're on your own, mate. I'm thinking, fuck's sake, it's my birthday and all, Christmas Eve. So I'm there on the landing and I'm going, what, you fucking mugs? And I've gone back into the recess to put the bucket in. When I come out, there's a pool of blood leading out and he's gone. I thought, where the fuck? And then I've heard the alarm. And I've gone round the corner and he's there with his finger on the alarm, blood all over him, and he's going, you're fucks now. And all the night patrol come, grabbed hold of me, bashed the shit out of me on the Spur so everyone could hear, and then got him to give me a few digs. He was weak from loss of blood, but I was going, like he was really hurting me while they was holding me. Took me down the block. This, by now it's Christmas morning. Took me down the block, put me in a strip cell, which is a cell within a cell where you have no clothes. You have a zoot suit, which is terrible shorts and top, and left me in there. And then the next morning, when the staff came on duty for Christmas Day and they heard what had happened, 3 or 4 of them went, let's go down and do the gun. So they've come down and beat me up in the fucking strip cell, proper kicked me all around the strip cell. I had 2 broken ribs, broken finger, boot mark across my face, and but no one was ever going to see me. I was stuck in there. Yeah. So they left me in that cell, and about, I'd say at least once a week, screws who had been off would come on and come down and bash me up. Right? They used to do all the usual shit. They bring the food to the door, spit it in front of me, and go, yeah, I enjoy that. But like, you had to eat it to survive. Otherwise you'd die of starvation. I ended up down there in the strip cell for 2 weeks. Then they took me out and put me in a normal cell in the block. But there was no talking, there was no singing, there was no whistling. You had a mattress, a thin mattress that was put in at 8 o'clock at night and taken out at 7 in the morning. And you're in a cell all day with nothing except a plastic piss pot. So I'm in there and I can't lose any bird. So they remind me to the Board of Visitors, which is the highest people who can give you the punishment in prison. They can lose the rest of your bird, but I can't lose nothing. So after about a month, I'm up in front of the Board of Visitors, causing gross personal violence to an officer attempting to escape. And they found me guilty, as they would, and said, what we propose to do is keep you in solitary confinement unlimited because we can't lose you any remission. So I didn't know what that meant. And I'm down that block and months went by, seriously. And I'm in this fucking cell. Every day the routine is the same. The governor comes round in the morning. This is what you live for, the governor coming round, because you think he's going to say, right, you can go back to the wing, because you never know when you're going. The governor would come round, chief would open your door, you're supposed to stand to attention, give your name and number to the governor, and this is how it went. Smith, PJ 2679, governor. Morning, Smith. Everything fine? Yes, governor. And you're open with him and say, right, you're going back to that. And he walks on and they close the door, and it was devastating. Every day you had another 24 hours to wait. And this went on for months.
Yeah.
And eventually after 2 months, I went, fuck this. I'm not doing it. So I went out to the toilet. I couldn't read and I couldn't write. Went out to the toilet and I found a bit of the Financial Times, like 2 big pages out of the Financial Times. So I brought them back, smuggled them back to my cell. And the next morning I was ready. I was sitting at the back of the cell, facing the wall with this newspaper like that. Door opens. Name and number to the governor. I went, all right, governor, am I going back today? He went, stand up and give your name and number to the governor. Piss off, am I going back today? They slammed the door, and every day I'd be doing something else.
Yeah.
Be doing press-ups or something. Morning, governor, am I going back? And eventually I got so paranoid down in that fucking cell that in there it was like a submarine. You could hear the screws in the office, but it sounded burbling, like you couldn't hear the sounds the words they were saying. So I'm up my door and I became convinced that they were going to kill my mother, and they were plotting to kill my mother. And the thing is, my mother had never even visited me in there. So I became manic. And then what I'd done was I ripped the zipper off my jeans. By then I had normal prison jeans, sharpened it up and ripped out me fucking, my veins in my wrist. Proper.
What, you just wanted to end your life?
Die, yeah.
My God.
So they found me in a pool of blood, took me up to the hospital, stitched me up, and then sent me back to the block. So I was there for another 9 months. I was in that block. And eventually,
solitary confinement.
Yeah. No exercise, no fresh air. You didn't get no exercise. You were in a cell all the time.
No.
3 times a day, you can go out and go across the landing to get water in a plastic jug and empty your piss pot, and that's it. Nothing. So,
what was your mindset when you're thinking, right, there's no way out here? Am I going to keep fighting this cruise? Am I going to be being a proper nuisance every single time? Or was there a point you go, do you know what, I'm actually done with this. I need to learn my lesson from that so I can get an easier, cushy lifestyle up in the wing and I can get out of here.
The funny thing is you go through all them phases in your time of solitary confinement.
Yeah.
So I ended up, I thought, fuck this. I don't want to be doing this for the rest of my life. And then I thought, well, fuck them. You know, I mean, if they're going to treat me like this and I've got no time to lose, I'm going to do my whole sentence. So I'm not playing the game. Eventually they come along and said, right, we're going to let you up on a wing. The governor said, I'll let you up on a wing. I went, right.
But that feeling was nice, wasn't it?
Not only because I was a smoker and down the block you can't smoke.
Yeah.
So I was looking forward to getting a roll up. Anyway, I'd been down there 9 months. The average sentence in Borstal for a Borstal boy was 9 months. When I come out of the block, the whole wing was new people I'd never seen before, but they all knew about me being down the block. And it became a thing. I ended up doing every day of that sentence. Got out in 1980 and went back to criminality and went back robbing again. And this time I took it serious. But that time in there, it mentally fucked me.
Yeah, I was about to say mentally, yeah.
I spoke to a psychiatrist afterwards and she said, to a 16-year-old boy, 3 years imprisonment is the same as life to an adult because they can't see beyond. Their brain is not developed to see beyond. In 1977, when I got it, right, people used to say, when you out there, and I used to go 1980, and people would go, fuck me, we'd be flying around in rocket ships by then and all that stuff. So 1980, I got out. What
was your attitude when you left there in 1980? Did you leave angry at the whole system? Were you thinking, right, I'm gonna be one of the best robbers now? Yeah. What's the difference between robbing a building society and robbing a bank?
The main difference is you get less money out of a building society. Building societies were always sort of an amateur thing, you know. I mean, when you were up and coming, you'd rob a building society just to get some experience. There's no real security in them. So basically you would it was whether they were going to give you the money, whether you could get them to give you the money. And once you could do that, you could do anything.
Did that give you the confidence then to move on to actually robbing banks?
Yeah.
And back then in the banks, obviously no CCTV.
It was
rubbish,
crap,
really, wasn't it? When you looked at it, because black and white and fluffy, and you can't see anything. What was the buzz like robbing a bank, and how well planned were you when you were robbing banks?
It was the best feeling in the world. Seriously, I still miss it. It was like where I had no power, and I'd always been bashed up and like fucking lowest rung in the ladder. Suddenly, when I'm robbing, I'm fucking it. Everybody has to do what I say. And it turned out I had a right knack for it. So, you know, you sort of build yourself up. What was one of my first robberies, I think was at Barclays. And
whereabouts? Do you remember?
Clapham, yeah.
Was it Clapham, was it?
Yeah. Oh no, it was in Balham, sorry. It was right opposite the station. And the first time I'd done that, it was like, I'll tell you this, the first shop robbery we'd done, or the second shop robbery we'd done, me and my mate, we thought, right, we're going to do this professionally.
Shop, as in what sort of shop?
It was a record shop.
So a record shop, going in there, robbing the cash and out. Okay.
Yeah. So what happened was we had a nick car called Tina Mark II, and we had a gypsy fellow who was our driver. And it was me and my mate Peter, he's dead now. And we both had the guns. I had the Luger, Peter had the shotgun. No ammo in them. Peter had a flick knife, 2 pairs of handcuffs to handcuff the staff, right? The flick knife was to cut the phone line, right? We had all sorts of mad shit with us that we thought we needed because it was on films. And the guy who's driving for us, it's the middle of summer, and he's sitting outside revving the engine with a ski mask on. Right in the middle of summer, people walking by going, what the fuck?
What a gypsy lad then.
Yeah,
full,
bang, right? Yeah, come on, hurry up. So we've got him, me and my mate,
fair play.
Big overcoats in the middle of summer. And there was a couple of customers in there. So we've gone down pretending to look through the records and we're watching. Last customer goes out, we go up to the counter. So this is my first fucking robbery. So the geezer said, yeah, what would you like? No, there was a record out called 20 Heartbreakers, and I've picked that up off the thing and went, can you play track number 6? And the record player was under the counter. So he had to get down. And as he's got down, I've reached in my pocket, pulled the Luger out. But as I've pulled it out, the foresight got caught on the lining of my jacket, which was red. And it's ripped and there's a bit of red lining hanging out.
Like a bang thing on.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm holding it up like that. I said, right. And the first thing I could think to say was stand and deliver.
Yeah.
Like, what a fucking idiot. He went, what do you want? I went, stand and deliver. He went, what? So I went, I'll blow your fucking head off. And he put his hands up then. I thought, oh, I'm getting away with it. So I went, get the money out of the safe. He went, we haven't got a safe. I said, well, get the money out of the till. He's opened the till, put a tenner on the thing. I went, what the fuck is that? He said, we took the money to the bank at 3:00.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I come out with some funny story to him, like, see that roof over there? By now I'm getting into it.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. I said, there's a sniper up there. If you leave this, there wasn't even a phone in there. If you leave this shop within the next 10 minutes, you'll put a bullet in your head. You got that? There was nobody on the fucking roof. So he's pretending to agree. Oh, yeah. So as we're going out through the door, there was a carousel thing with all records in it. I grabbed a big arm full of LPs because we only had a tenner. They're all basically fucking rollers, LPs. All the girls in the flats loved them, my sister and that. But yeah, we nicked the tenner. So that was the
start.
One. Yeah.
And then what was it when you went into a bank then? What other things did you have to think about before going into the bank?
Well, I became professional sort of in the 80s, and the things you had to look out for, certain banks had security guards, like the Allied Irish used to always have a security guard in Cricklewood Broadway. But you'd take them anyway, they're not armed. But
what do you mean you take them?
You'd put them down on the floor.
Okay, cuff them up or put a fear in them?
No. I had one of them sort of faces and voices, 18 stone with a big leather jacket on a ski mask. I used to go in and go, right, everybody up the fucking end of the bank, and I'd be waving the gun round. Everybody would go to the end of the bank, right? Security guards down the end of the bank. So what we used to do then was we had a bagman. This is the typical team, 4 in the robbery team. One is the driver, don't come into the gaff, right? Yeah. You got the doorman. Now the doorman, when you get into the premises, he stays by the door with a weapon. In our case, it was a fireman's axe, right, scary weapon. So anyone who comes in ain't getting back out until there's a robbery, and nobody's getting out. So he'll stay there by the door with the axe. We had a bagman who was my pal, and his job was just to go from counter to counter, bagging up the money. And I was the frightener, the gunman. Yeah. So my job was to get them all to comply, and I was really good at it.
Give me an example. Give me an example as you've gone in. I want to know the example of you gone in. Who's the first man in?
I am.
You were always the first man in, yeah. And you would put the fear up everyone.
Oh yeah.
Give me an example as you just gone through the door now. What you would do? What you'd say?
Let me base it on one we've done. We've done a Midland Bank. Midland were our favourite. They no longer exist. I think it's partly down to us. But we done the Midland Bank on London Road, Croydon. And what happened was we're on mobile phones, hands-free. This is 97.
Yeah.
So we've all got the earpiece in. And the geezer in the car can hear exactly what's going on in the bank through our mobile phones. So he knows when to start the engine when we're on our way out. So it's a big, long pavement across the road. We go one by one into the vestibule. Every bank's got a vestibule, which is you go in through the doors, then there's another set of doors. So it's a little sterile place. Once we're in there, pull the ski mask down, right, get the gun out. I'd have the gun, they'd have the bag and the X. And then we kick open the second set, because the thing is surprise.
Yeah.
As soon as I kick the door open, I'll be in there pointing the gun at everyone. Get on the fucking floor, you muggy cunts. And they're like, with the fright of it, they just drop to the floor or they go where you tell them to go. No, I talked to old robbers years ago and they said, if there's any ever go heroes, you can avoid them by always keeping everyone at gun's length.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Don't let them anywhere near the gun. So that was my game. And I'd be walking around, people would be on the floor and I'd be going, what are you fucking looking at? I'll blow your fucking head off. Like really frightening while the rest of them went to work and got the money and all that stuff. So, but the thing is, when you do that sort of job, and I said it in my first book, time freezes. Okay. It slows down. You can hear everything. You can hear like cars indicating on the street as you're crossing the road. And then when you get in there, it's complete silence because the banking hall is a lot quieter than it is outside. And when you start shouting, everyone just, out of fright, just drops to the floor. Some people don't. I mean, I've done one down in Tulse Hill once and I walked in, there was 20 people. I'd done it on my own, pulled the shotgun out, fired a shot out of one barrel into the ceiling because there were so many people. And when everyone on the floor, everyone dropped on the floor except for one geezer, a black fella over in the corner. He was up at the counter. So I've walked through the people and I went, oh, you. Well, what's your fucking game? Get on the floor. And he went, I'm a yardie. I said, I don't care if you're a fucking yardie. I went, get on the fucking floor. But mad shit like that. Yeah. I had another one up in Clapham. I'm doing one on my own. I've walked in and I've got a bag, plastic bag for the money, pulled out the gun. There's a geezer at the counter who's paying some money in. So I pull out the gun. They're all looking at me. I went, right, fill this, and threw the bag over to the counter. Right. The geezer who's on this side of the counter grabs the bag and starts emptying his pockets into it. I said, what are you fucking doing, mate? Give him the bag. So he pushes it under. When I get home and I'm emptying the money out the bag, there's a biro, there's a bus ticket, there's 2p, all the things out of his pocket. Another one, I used to use at one stage, I used to use a Remington sawn-off 22 rifle. It was semi-automatic. It was about that long, but it was heavy. And I've gone into a bank up in Streatham on my own, pulled it out in my overcoat. No, I've still got it in my overcoat. I went, everyone down the end of the bank, and they all started moving down towards the end of the bank. And as I've pulled it out, it got caught again, and I've wrenched it, and it's come out my hand, dropped onto the floor, and it was like a marble floor in this bank. It's dropped onto the floor and skidded about 4 foot in front of me. Now, they're all up against the wall, and I'm here with nothing in my hand and the gun on the floor. So there's a geezer standing there, and on the spur of the moment, I went, kick that back to me. And he went, and kicked it back, and I picked it up. But so many mad things happen when you're doing that.
Which is the one that really stands out for you? Which is the robbery? Which is your biggest robbery that you've ever done?
Oh, I can't talk about that. I haven't. You know, I've only been nicked for a third of the crimes. I've been convicted of a third of the crimes I've committed, so I can't be. And I'm a bit long in the tooth to be going back on that shit. Yeah. But I will tell you about one. We've done a security van, security post office van in Balham. And we discovered, it became quite well known in the criminal underworld, that in order to do the vans, what you could do is, if you shot them with a 2.2 long case in the window, it would make a tiny little hole, and then a pickaxe bomb through into the hole, and then you could put the barrel of a gun through, and they had to open the doors. So we're down there, I had the 2.2. We've blocked them in, jumped out, I've jumped out, ski masked up, a couple of other people, and I've gone right up to the fucking window, and I've fired the gun, and I flew back when it hit the glass, but it never made the hole. It just cracked. So I'm there with this 2.2 rifle. It's only got 4 shots in it. Yeah. And I'm trying to make a hole, and none of them went through the hole. And I thought, that's a load of bollocks. So we've all embarrassed. There was £1 million on the van. Embarrassedly, we'd all have to run back to the cars and just fuck off. But yeah, I mean, so many different, I was on so many robberies that they all become like one. Okay. You know what I mean?
What was your lifestyle like?
It was...
you're earning all this cash, you're bringing the cash in, you get the buzz, you go back, you have a divvy up with your mates. How do you know your mates got your back on a job?
I'll tell you why. The last robberies I'd done, the Laughing Bank robbers, we were called, because we wore Santa hats Christmas Eve robbing the Midland Bank up in Clapham. Yeah.
Well, you went in, whacked Santa hats on?
Yeah. Over the ski masks.
Over them?
There was a geezer selling them outside for £1. It was Christmas Eve, my birthday again. So he's selling them outside. There's 3 of us are going in. I went, yeah, I guess 3 of them. We ain't got the masks on yet. Get into the vestibule, put the masks on, then put the hats on. And I've come through the door with a shotgun going, ho, ho, ho. Right, fill my sack. And like through the stuff. And we were wishing a Merry Christmas as we left. And it was all in the local papers. So the flying squad nicknamed us the Laughing Bank robbers. So we lived up to that. Yeah. We went and done the Midland Bank over in Hendon, right next to the police college. They all chased us out of the college, never caught us. But, yeah, I mean, I think I must have robbed every Midland bank in London and the home counties. They were a listing bank and they really did listen. You know, they give you the money straight away. But
why Midland? Why would you pick on them? Were you just like, it was an easy target? Did you know?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you come to know certain things when you're in a robbery game. When you're in jail, you meet other robbers. Every robber and every criminal inside has got their deps. Do you know what deps are?
No.
Depositions. So it'll be a bunch of paperwork that big for every case you get nicked for. They have to give you the depositions, everyone's statements, because you're going to be fighting the case, and all the photographs. So when you look in the depositions, it will tell you stuff. They don't do it no more, but it say Barclays Bank. We were robbed that morning. I came in as the key holder at say 8:30. I moved the curtain on over to the left-hand side of the window to let anybody else come in know that the bank was okay. They have all these little security things, so you pick them up. So I picked up the fact that Barclays banks had lockable till drawers, which meant if you come in to rob them, if they slammed the till shut, it was shut for 15 minutes. You couldn't even get till money. So I refused to rob them. The NatWest, I robbed them a few times, but they had a policy that they were not to hand over money even if customers were threatened. Right.
Is that right?
Yeah, don't ever bank with a NatWest. They'd I was in one day.
That'd make a good advert from you, wouldn't it? Yeah. NatWest, never bank with NatWest. I don't hand over the money straight.
Yeah. I was in one day. I had 20 people on the floor and all the cashiers went down behind the counters because they tell them you've got bulletproof glass. They can't get you.
Yeah.
So I'm standing there in this bank and all the people are on the floor. I've got a sawed-off shotgun and I went, if you don't come up from down there, I said, I'm going to start fucking shooting these customers one by one. And all the customers went, and because they can't see me, the bank staff, I went like that to the customers, but they weren't, you know. And I went, listen, get up here and give me the money. I'm putting this in this fucking bird's head. They never come up. So in the end, I went, you fucking wankers, going out like, remember in the craze?
When he goes,
fucking wankers. I'll come for a shootout. So that was me walking out the bank. So I went and robbed another Midland up in Tooting, I think it was. No, a NatWest rather. No, it was in Clapham, Balham. And I've gone into that one, and the same thing. They've all ducked down behind the counter, and then one geezer's come out from the back. He looked like a bodybuilder working in the bank, and he's come through. He didn't realise what was happening. And I went, you, come here. So he's come walking over with a cup of tea in his hand. He went, what? You see them all on the floor? And I've put the barrels of the gun into the drawer. I said, if I fire this, it's going straight up there, ricocheting into your fucking head. Give me the money. And he gave me about $5,000 or something. I walked out, but from then on, I wouldn't do NatWests.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't do Barclays. And certain banks you could do, like the Midland and the Allied Irish. We had people not connected to us, but sort of who would tell us, who worked in them banks. Now, the Midland Bank had this thing where when they got delivery from a security van on a Thursday, that would be their, what they called the reserve, their money for the next month. And instead of putting it straight into a vault, which would be on a time lock, they put it in a safe underneath the head cashier's desk, right out the front. We discovered that. So, of course, we wait till the van delivered, straight in, over the counter, right, give us the money, and out the cashier's safe. When you said that, they go, so they pick up the security pack and give it to you.
Right.
You'd end up with like 40, 60, 70 grand in that alone. So that was our job, the last one, the reserve game. We used to do them all the Midlands and Allied Irish. Yeah.
Your lifestyle. Where were you living around these times? Were you Clapham, Brixton, Wandsworth, around there?
I moved up to Croydon. I had a penthouse flat up in Croydon. But, you know, that life, people think it's really glamorous. It's fucking not.
It's glamorous. I had a nightclub in Wandsworth.
Yeah.
Where all the old faces used to come up to. What was it like for you being people would know you for who you are and what you did, and they gave you a lot of respect. Did you enjoy that?
I must admit I did at first,
Yeah.
and then I found out years later that it weren't really respect, it was fear.
Okay.
And this is how I found out. Me and my pal robbed the bank up in Clapham. And what had happened? No, I robbed the bank in Streatham. What had happened?
I love this confusion, so many banks.
I had a hood,
Yeah.
right, like a hoodie. And I thought to myself, right, I'll nip in, rob this. I was on my own. So as I'm getting to the door, I had in those days, I was using a Navy Colt revolver, which is about that fucking long. It's got about a 9-inch barrel. So it was always like hard to get out the trousers and that. So I'm on my way into this bank. And as I'm trying to pull the gun out and flick my hood up at the same time as I go through the door, but what I didn't realise, my hood's hit the back of my head and fell down, so I'm barefaced. So I've gone in and robbed the gaff. And it was on Police 5, the video, Short Taylor.
I remember it on a Sunday. What did you say there? And keep them peeled.
Yeah. I'm at home in the kitchen with my missus, and my son, who was about 4 at the time, come running. Dad, you on telly? I put my head round the door, and there's me robbing, and Short Taylor's going, do you know this man? There's a reward. And I thought, fucking hell. So I fucked off to Ireland. Stayed over there about went to Wales, actually. I didn't get to Ireland. Stayed down there for 6 weeks, come back, nobody had crossed me up. But when I got nicked the next time, me and my pal got photoed. I'm wearing a hood, but you could see my face. And we both got guns in our hands. And it was in the South London Press. It was on the front page, and it said, do you know these men? Rewards offered. So my mate Dave gets nicked. There's a 10 grand reward on him, 15 grand reward on me. So eventually I get nicked. And after about, we've been through all the court cases and that, we're up for trial. And we're outside waiting with the flying squad who's nicked us, waiting to go into court. And I hadn't spoken to him. That was my game. I wouldn't speak to him. I wouldn't say a word from the minute I was nicked.
What, everything, no comment?
No, not even no comment. I wouldn't say nothing. I'd just sit there and just look at the floor. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Or look at the ceiling and start counting all the bricks. And they used to get really frustrated. But anyway, I hadn't spoken to them. And then one of them said to me, just to be spiteful, waiting to go into court, he said, you'll never guess. He said, your mate's a bit more popular than you are. So I'm looking at him. He went, there was 10,000 on you, mate. He said, someone claimed that. So I'm listening. He went, it was 15,000 on you. He said, you know what? He said, we had 9 phone calls naming you, and not one of them wanted the reward. That's how much people love you. They're willing to put you in jail for life for nothing.
Yeah.
They don't even want the money. So I realised that it weren't respect. It was fucking fear.
Fear, yeah. What would you say, how would you explain your personality in your 30s and 40s?
Complicated. I was mentally ill, there's no doubt about it. You know, I mean, I had all sorts of, got diagnosed later on as a psychopath. I had 37 of 40 traits of a psychopath or something. I'd done the test, hair psychopathy test. Don't know if you see that, it was on Channel 4. They'd done a big program of it. Took me to like the greatest brain doctors in the world and all that. And they said, I've got, my frontal lobe was damaged, and that made me a psychopath. I wasn't one of those, I'll kill you in 2 seconds psychopaths.
Yeah.
I was a person who got it into my head that I was going to do something, and then it was single-minded. I would just go and do it, and that was my psychopathy, and I didn't care. You know, I mean, I could walk into a place if there was 20 coppers in there and still try and rob the gaff. Yeah. I just didn't, it didn't compute to me. So I was like a fucking...
You're a dangerous man.
Unexploded bomb.
Yeah. 18-stone lump who was at it and didn't care.
But it was also the stupid shit I'd done, mate. I mean, I'll give you an example. I went down to Brixton, I think it was 89, and I bought a Webley revolver with 5 bullets in it. So I was coming back up to my mate's house to stash it, and it was quite a nice day. And there was a drug dealer who used to come to my mate's house. He sold sulfate, and he was sitting outside with his bird in an American motor, and he just bought 3 kilos of sulfate, and he had it wrapped in newspaper, and they were sitting in the car, and they'd opened it to get a bit out to give to my mate. So they got 3 kilos of sulfate, and their window. What the hell is that?
That's him. He wants his sulphate back.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't turn that off. Did anyone know how to turn this off? But yeah, that was me local shoplifter.
That's what was the 15 grand reward there.
Yeah, that's me local shoplifter with a load of steak for me. Yeah,
was your local? That's what I'm calling you now.
Yeah. So.
Wait, that's my local shoplifter who's nicked me a load of steak for tonight, a load of sirloins. And
tell him I'll have it. £2. Yeah, so I was mad as a fucking hatter, seriously.
Yeah.
And I didn't give a shit. I wasn't really a violent man, if you know what I mean. My violence came mostly when I was in prison. And I was never what you'd call a great fucking fighter. I could hold my own, I could throw a few punches, but I was a weapons man as well. I mean, my first fight in jail, I cut a geezer across the face with a razor in Borstal, bit a fella's ear off. And I was one of them kind of geezers. I wouldn't go out starting trouble. My thing was the system, the prison system I hated. I didn't hate other prisoners. And in those days, there was a bit of solidarity where everybody sort of had a code. And they done something. It's gone by the way since Bertie Smalls grassed everyone up and never got touched. Now,
who's that? Was that Bertie Small?
Bertie Smalls,
Go on.
yeah. The Wembley mob.
Go on.
He was the first ever supergrass in this country, Bertie Smalls, Derek Quiet and Smalls. They were doing robberies all over. Like, they nicked 122 grand out of Barclays Bank in 1971, and they were having it right off, and he got caught. And he'd done a deal with the Crown Prosecution Service that he wouldn't serve a single day in prison, but he would give them 25 armed robbers, and he did.
You're
and they
joking,
all went away.
mate.
Nah, they all went away for Big Bird. And they put a £1 million hit out on his head, and he lived another 30 years in London and never got touched. So the criminal code went out the fucking window. Oh, if you grass, you're going to get killed. But he Smalls grassed up. All the top villains never got touched.
How did he get away with that?
Just
you got a load of faces. You got a load of faces. Yeah, okay.
Apparently he was the worst of the robbers,
yeah,
and he was the most violent. So just a brass neck, you know what I mean? And he went, well, come and fucking kill me then. But by the time they'd finished their 18 and 16 year sentences, nobody wanted to go out and get done for fucking killing him.
Yeah.
So that fucked the system up, and it fucked the prison system. In the old days, we were all together, and the screws was the enemy. The system was the enemy. Then heroin came in to prison system, and suddenly people who you would never even expect were suddenly junkies and trying to keep it secret and all that shit. And then the grassing and the prison system fell apart.
What decade do you reckon the prison system?
That's the 80s.
The 80s,
yeah.
So what drugs were the drug of choice before heroin got involved in the prison? So just pure cannabis.
Yeah.
But if you're smoking that,
yeah,
and you've got they think test you for 30 days, you get another whack on top of that.
No, there was no drug testing.
There wasn't.
Drug testing only came out about 1992.
So would you say drug testing was a good thing or a bad thing?
Bad thing.
Okay.
What it done was it turned a lot of people in prison off cannabis and onto heroin, right? Because I'll tell you for why. You take heroin and you can flush it out of your system in 2 days.
Yeah.
You take cannabis, it's in your system for 28 days. So if you get a piss test, you are fucked.
Yeah.
So everybody give up cannabis, went on heroin, right? And that's why there's so many mad junkies out there killing people. And I blame the prison system. But yeah, in those days, you could have a smoke and the screws, even the smell, the screws would come up. There was no piss tests or nothing. You had to be caught with it in your hand to be like nicked. Screws would come up the cell, scrubs and places like that. Stink of cannabis on the landing. They'd open your cell door and go, open the window, will you, mate? For fuck's sake, the governor's going to be through in a minute. And that was what you got. Then Michael Howard decided that prisoners were out there nut on cannabis, decided to bring in piss testing. And then what happened was everyone went, fuck, if I get nicked with cannabis in my system, I'm losing 28 days.
Yeah.
If I get nicked with heroin in my system, 28 days. But I can flush heroin through my system in 2 days.
Right, okay.
Whereas 10 days later, they test me for cannabis, I've still got it. So that fucked up a lot of people, and it made the prison system very skewed in, like, whereas it used to be solidarity, you'd back up any prisoner against any screwer against the system, then it fragmented everything. People were off doing heroin deals and blah, blah, blah. It led to more violence because people couldn't pay for it. When we were smoking cannabis in jail, it was £7.50 for a 16th of cannabis. Right. You can't get in fucking debt to that, whereas heroin's £10 for each hit and it lasts about an hour. You know what I mean? So that fucked the whole prison system up. And and let's face it, everyone in prison is inadequate. Right? They're people who are not good at their fucking jobs. I mean, the criminals. And that's how we end up in prison in the first place. But, it fucked the prison system up and also fucked up the whole criminal ecosystem, if you like, the heroin. Because now there's people on it you wouldn't even believe.
Yeah.
And keep it secret.
When you were at peak,
Yeah.
of your bank robbing and earning loads of dough. What was your lifestyle like?
It was, I've got to tell you this. There was 4 of us in the Laughing Bank Robbers, right?
Yeah.
One of my mates.
They were still alive?
Yeah, they're all still alive.
Okay.
One's in Costa Rica. One's in another prison at the moment. He phoned me the other day. He got not guilties on them all. But anyway, what we...
And the other one?
He's just living a family life. He was a cannabis grower.
Okay.
And then he came into armed robbery from that. But this is the thing with us, right? There's 4 of us, right? Whenever we had it off, one of my mates would go and buy tools, right? He'd buy thousands of pounds worth of snap-on tools, all the best tools you could get. But if his light bulb went in his house, he'd have to call in an electrician to change the light bulb. So he had loads of tools and nothing to do with them. Another one used to buy videos, VHS videos. He had a whole library. His front room was all shelves of videos. Right? That's what he spent his money on. I would spend my money on cars. I love classic cars. And just generally living a good lifestyle. But here's how it goes, Dodge. Right, Dodge. If you rob a bank today and you get 40 grand, 10 grand each, say, which was our normal whack, within about 2 weeks, someone would be run out of money because it was such easy money. And they'd phone you up and say, should we have another one? So you never worried about money. I would go into places and like, if you was working for the money, you go in and buy a car and they go like, that's 22 grand. If you're working for the money, you go, oh, fuck, I don't know. When you're nicking it, you go,
you want to give it,
that.
you want to give
I'll
it,
rob
don't you?
another bank tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we all had great cars and we were out on the piss. We were playing over Camden Town, playing pool for like 50 quid a game cash and all out of a nut on coke. And, you know, we were just like, nobody knew we were at it. In fact, the geezer in the pub where we used to drink and play pool for 50 quid called us the 4 yuppies.
Is that right? Because only yuppies back then would be doing cocaine, weren't they?
Yeah.
Or
we
rock stars.
We were all proper dressed and had proper cars.
Yeah.
So he used to call us the 4 yuppies. He used to go, what do you do, lads? We're in financial, we're in financial interests. But, So, and we robbed the Allied Irish Bank because I was going to Ireland for holiday and I wanted some Irish money to take with me. But yeah, here's another funny thing. Robbed the Irish Bank in Cricklewood, So I decided that when we was going in, we were going to talk like we were from Belfast, right? So pretend that we were IRA or terrorists so they'd hand over the money straight away. Got in. So I'm like, all right, there, number 2, get that fucking money out of there. Here, come here, you. You know what I mean? And all that shit.
Yeah.
And my mates are doing it as well. Get that fucking money in there. Anyway, when I got nicked about a year later and they charged me with that robbery, they couldn't prove it. I had a mask on. But 2 of the witnesses, right, this is God's honest truth, come to the Old Bailey and said, yeah, the man with the gun was definitely from East Belfast. And how do you know? I know that dialect and that accent. They were both from Belfast themselves and thought I was from East Belfast. And I'm going, you're contributing to the cause here. Now put that fucking money over. Right? So that was fucking mental. I got not guilty on that. But yeah, just that mad shit like that. And we used to just spend most of our time driving round. And this is what it's like when you're an armed robber, seriously. You go out with your family for a drive and every bank and every target that you see, you're looking at. I'll stop here. Wait there, kids. And you're going over looking in how many counters, blah, blah, blah. You're always working. And you've always got about 20 in your mind to do. And you never decide which one until the day because that's how the flying squad catch you. They go get you under robbo. You know what I mean? And they know where you're going. Eventually, I got arrested at gunpoint after a 90-mile-an-hour chase across Streatham Common. I was in a car. And I'm sitting at the traffic lights, window open, and I've got all false ID on me because I'm on the run from prison and I'm hiding in another place. And all of a sudden, something catches me eye, and round the corner against the traffic comes a BMW with like loads of geezers, screeches up next to me, and as they're jumping out, they're putting on the police hats, you know, the firearms hats. Don't move, don't fucking move. They're right next to me. I've gone, fuck that. I've gone up on the pavement, through a bus shelter, round, and now they're chasing me. Right? And this is the funny thing. I'm doing about 70 mile an hour across Streatham Common, across the actual common. They're next to me in a Volvo 740, leading out, 2 of them with guns pointed at me. So I'm like that. They're next to me, we're racing. And a copper goes, slow down. He went, we're going to fucking shoot you. So I've pressed the button, the window's gone up, as if that's going to stop them. So I'm there like that. Oh, windows gone up. I can't see them no more. Anyway, they eventually catch me. They had a helicopter up. And
well, there was a chopper up following you as well, was there?
Yeah,
okay.
It was a proper ambush.
Yeah.
And what had happened was, when we're shooting around the streets and they're chasing me and it's been raining, I throw all the ID out so they won't know where my address is if they catch me. So they catch me after about 20 minutes and they've got me bent over the bonnet of the car, my head on the bonnet of the car, putting the cuffs on, and my head's on the bonnet of the car, and one of them comes up, slaps down all the ID all covered in rain and everything, went, think you dropped these, mate.
Oh.
So now they know where I live. But yeah, I went to prison for a long time for that one. Yeah.
How many? So I want to break through this time then. So you've done the ball stall, you've done the detention, then you did the ball stall. Your first prison sentence, you said it was a 3-year.
Mm.
And out of that 3 year, what'd you do? 1.5 years?
3 years.
You did the whole 3.
Yeah,
and the next one?
My next one was 7.
Okay, so how long was it when you left, when you'd done the 3, how long were you out for before you got nicked again for a 7?
About 2 years. 2 years.
And in that 2 years, how many robberies do you reckon you'd done?
About 60. I used to do them regular. People used to just come to me to carry the gun and give me a share out of the robbery.
So people who were gearing up to do a robbery go,
I'll be
Razor,
the
you're,
growler.
mate, okay, so you whack him in first. There you go. There's a cut. You can have a cut. Off you go.
Yeah.
Were you a planner?
No.
Were you just like, I want you in there. I want you the front man, Razor. Go and do what you got to do. Scare everyone.
I wouldn't even ask. How much am I getting? You're getting 10 grand. All right, sweet. And I'll just go in and do it. We went and robbed the soup. They brought me to rob a supermarket once up in Streatham, Tesco's, I think it was. And we're all in there. We're in Tesco jackets, waiting for the van to deliver or pick up or whatever it was. And they had a butcher's and a fishmonger's in the actual big superstore. And when we robbed the security van coming in, the guard, all these butchers and that come running out with knives in their white coats chasing us out of the shop. So the other 3 guys were quicker than me, and our escape was across Streatham High Road and then down by a railway bridge, and the car was waiting there with a driver in it to pick us up. So my mate runs out first and he loses one of his shoes crossing the road, right? So he's only got one shoe on. So I run out. Now I've got a double barrel shotgun and I hear, oi, and I turn round and there's about 6 geezers with big fucking knives with the hats on and the white coats. Yeah, all come out of the supermarket. So I've turned round and I've gone like that and I've pointed the gun at them. They've all run back in. But as I've turned round, somebody on a push bike has bumped straight into me, smashed straight into me. I've gone on the floor, guns fell out my hand, and he's all tangled up. He ain't done it on purpose. He was just coming down the high road and I'm there. So I've quickly got up, grabbed the gun, and I think he's done it on purpose. So I'm going to shoot him in the head. I wasn't going to shoot him, but I've given it to him and legged it and got away. But, you know, it was just madness. It was chaos from beginning off because I didn't plan nothing and I was willing to be part of other people's plans. I never really knew what was fucking going on.
Yeah.
So I could never grass anyone up. Like, where was this plan? I ain't got a
clue.
fucking clue.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got nicked too many times to be successful and ended up spending 35 years behind bars, you know. So
my God.
Yeah, I was a shit robber.
My God, 35 years behind bars.
Yeah. I've never been caught on a robbery, but always caught afterwards.
How old are you today?
65 in December.
How do you look back at that and think I've spent 35 years behind bars?
With great regret.
Yeah,
I have to say, I regret everything. I think, you know, John McVicker said it once. He was a mate of mine, John. And he said, crime is a great life. Committing crime is a fucking fantastic life. The only trouble is they put you in prison for it.
Yeah. And
he also said, you could earn more doing a straight job than you could in all those years you spent in prison and robbing, which is true.
Yeah.
If I'd have went and done a straight job, I'd have earned the same money probably and I'd have been out all these years. And I really regret, seriously, all the crime. It's not glamorous, mate. When you're laying in a punishment block in some top security prison with 10 years left to serve and you got 4 broken ribs and blood coming out of your mouth and blood in your shit where you've been stamped on your stomach by 15 screws, it loses its glamour. It really does. And people will tell you, most criminals say, and I get sick of it, they won every fight, every robbery they done was £1 million. That's bullshit. Yeah. I've been to at least 10 banks where they've refused me and I've walked out and went whenever. They say, well, why'd you walk out? There's 1 million fucking banks. Why would I shoot someone in a bank? Yeah. It's not worth it. So yeah, I regret the whole life of crime. I regret the prison. I regret losing my family and my kids down there. I'm back with my kids and some of my kids and my grandkids now. But I lost a good woman who loved me, and just through fucking about and going to prison, I lost my house. I get out of prison every time with nothing. The clothes I stand up in. And, you know, it's no good robbing 200 banks if when you get out of jail for the last time, you got one pair of trousers and one pair of socks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not.
Why is that?
Because they take everything.
They take everything. But you see bank robbers and go, right, if he's done 40 grand there, 100 grand there, you'd have thought, right, you've stashed it underground. When I come out, I'm going to come back to a nice little bundle. But the amount of people I've had on the podcast who've come out and gone, I've come out absolutely brassic. Yeah. There's a couple who've come out I've done good off air, but why is it? There was no planning to it? Was it easy go, easy come? Money was gone. Spend it in nightclubs, spend it on gear, birds party and whatever.
Early 80s.
Yeah.
A lot of my mates who were robbers in London said to me, get on the coke, put your money into coke. That's going to be the next big thing. I went, fuck off. I didn't want to. I was like a traditional robber. I wanted to be walking the streets in the rain with my gun. Yeah. And a lot of them ended up very, very rich, ended up retiring to Spain. And I was still on the streets, rady streets of London, walking around trying to rob 10 grand out of a fucking bank. But and there was other times when people said invest in property. And I bought a share in a scrapyard down in Balham. And I put money into that and it was doing well. And then when I went in jail, I said, I cashed in the money and pulled out. It was 5 grand. And 10 weeks later, the bit of land that we had the scrapyard on was sold for 7.1 million to McDonald's.
Wow.
Yeah. They wanted to put a drive-through there. They didn't eventually, but yeah, so I could have been in on that. I've missed so much stuff over the years because I'm not organised. And I wasn't a very good criminal and I was no good at planning. So people would come up and say, hey, do you fancy robbing that jewellery shop up in Croydon? I go, yeah, come on in. You know, no question what's in there or anything, you know what I mean? Let's just do it.
Where did you get that from, being so game and not fear of going? Because roles reversed, I'd be like, hold on a minute. I'm not a bank robber or anything like that, but I'd be like, hold on a minute. Let's have a look at this. Who's involved? What timings? Who's going to be in there? How much are we going to get out? How much am I roughly going to get out? I'd be planning like that if I was going to do something. But you were just like, nah. Let's go. It's
part of my psychopathy.
Okay.
The fact I'm a psychopath meant that I didn't care about little things like that. It's like, as a psychopath, this is true, and I'm not saying this to scare anybody or try and make myself a little bit. Yeah. As a psychopath, I could walk up to you, stab you in the face and not feel nothing about it. It's just one of them things. And it was the same with armed robberies. I just go in, you know, I never thought about nothing. Yeah, I'll get a bit of money here, bump. So my psychopath, and I became a psychopath because I got hit in the frontal lobe when I was 10 years old with an iron bar and it damaged my brain. That's how I became a psychopath.
What's that feeling like, sitting there actually saying, I am a psychopath?
I don't know, because that's what I do. It doesn't seem nothing to me.
That's what my point is. But when like I've got someone chatting to you now, if you would have come in and I'd be going, I've got a psychopath coming in today. All you feel is the movies and stuff. I don't see it as Razor, who is very well known around the UK as a psychopath.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Right. Do you know what profession has the most psychopaths in this country?
Politicians.
Surgeons. Surgeons.
Oh, is it surgeons, is it?
Because when you think about it, how can you cut into living flesh and not feel anything about it? And they can take your heart out. They do it because they're psychopaths. They're on it. You know what I mean? It doesn't bother them. And I learned that when I'd done a documentary. They tested me for psychopathy. And it turns out surgeons and top businessmen are psychopaths.
Is that right?
Yeah, they're so driven and they don't care about stamping on people that they, they become successful.
Certain businesmen don't care about stamping. Yeah, there's a few out there. Yeah, really
sort of like Alan Sugar.
Yeah,
he wouldn't give a toss if he had to step on you to get about it. There's loads of them. But I discovered that, and being a psychopath is not what you'd think. It's not. You're mental and you're foaming at the mouth.
But that's how it's portrayed, right?
Yeah, but what it basically means is that you don't care the same way other people care. So if someone says to me, my sister died last week and I knew your sister, I go, yeah, that's bad. But I wouldn't feel nothing. Yeah. Whereas normal people would go, oh my God, did she? I sit there, my missus used to hate it because we'd watch sad films and I'd be going, fuck you crying at? You know what I mean? It's a dog, Lassie's a dog.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand it. And I could only understand people's emotions as a psychopath by studying them and trying to copy them. So when they gave me the test, funny enough, what they did.
How old were you when you got the test?
I was 46.
Okay.
So I never knew all them years.
Yeah.
And when they give you the test, they show you faces, a series of faces on the screen with different expressions, and you've got to say what expressions they are. Mine were all angry, and yet none of them were angry.
Okay.
I could see anger in every face,
Yeah.
and that was down to me psychopathy. I couldn't understand emotions, and it's a fucking hard work sometimes. It's not now. I mean, I'm retired, and I've got my grandkids around me. It doesn't ever come into the equation, you know what I mean? But when I think back, I think, no wonder I've done that, or no wonder I've done that,
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't know why I was doing it or why I didn't feel anything about it.
Did you feel anything when you were in Nick and then your kids were coming to see you or your missus was coming to see you? What feelings were going through your head knowing that you ain't going to see them for God knows how many years?
Most of the time, once I went in jail, I wouldn't have visits. I'd tell everyone, stay away, because you cannot live inside and outside at the same fucking time.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. After I got weighed off last time, I was with a geezer who just got 15 years at the Old Bailey, in the next court to me. And we're in Belmarsh the next day waiting to see the governor. And he's looked at his watch and he went, "Oh, boss, 9." He said, "I'll be on about my 5th cup of tea now, waiting for a sausage sandwich. Fuck." And I turned around to him and I said, "Yeah, but you ain't, mate." I said, "You got 15 years to do." Because I'm a psychopath, I don't care. 15 years to do, and you ain't getting no fucking sausage sandwich ever. So fucking get with it. And he went on to have a breakdown because he thought about the out so much. His family were coming up all the time. Me, I just cut everybody off and go and do me bird.
Razor, I'm fascinated. Can you list all the prisons you've spent time in?
It might take a bit of a while, but going right back to the beginning, first incarceration with Stamford House in Shepherd's Bush. Then it was Send, DC in Surrey. Then it was Latchmere House in Surrey, which was a remand place. Then it was Ashford, which is no longer there, in Middlesex. From Ashford, it was Dover, then Rochester, then Brixton, then Woolward Scrubs, then Pentonville, Canterbury, Whitemore, Long Larton, Belmarsh, where else? Oh, so many nicks, it's unreal. I mean, Maidstone, Albany on the Isle of Wight, Parkhurst. I mean, I could go on forever with this. It's just... Is
there one prison that stands out as the most brutal out of all of those?
Yeah, Albany Prison on the Isle of Wight was brutal, not from the staff, from a prisoner's point of view. There was at least 2 stabbings in there every week. It was a really bad, violent dispersal. And in fact, when you first got there, my mates were already there, and one of them come up to me, give me a knife and a wedge for my door. He said, because the doors unlock electronically in the morning. If someone's going to do you, they'll be outside and straight in. He said, wedge up your door so they can't get in. And there was a lot of violence there. But as for brutality from the screws, I'd say Dartmoor was one of the worst, really. Weren't many Londoners down there. It was mainly Welshmen. And they've got a big rivalry down there between the Welsh, Cardiff and Swansea. Yeah. They're always, but the screws were just like, I'll tell you what it was like. It was like Frankenstein's Castle. You know, the Mel Brooks one where it's a bit of a comedy. I got down there and they're unpacking my property. It's fucking freezing, believe me. And they're going through my property and they were like something out of a horror film, these 2 guys. They're proper country buds. And one of them, I had a Sega game. Do you remember them? Hedgehog games? One of them, you're allowed them in prison then. So he's pulled it out. He went, "What's this?" I said, "It's a Sega game." He went, "That's a TV, that is." So I went, "No, it's nice. It's an electronic game." And he's gone to his mate. He went, "Here, look. Have a look at that." And the kids looked at it. He went, "Cartoons on there. That's a TV." And I thought, fucking hell, what sort of chow is this? And then they went, "You're not allowed to wear your own trainers unless they look like shoes." What? "If your trainers look like shoes, you can wear them." I said, "Well, my trainers look like white shoes." "No, they don't. They look like trainers." Fucking mental. And then they're bringing you along. It's like they've got a lantern bringing you through all these dirty, disgusting corridors with water dripping down. And in the cells, there's no word of a lie, I was there in 86 before they renovated. And in every cell, up in the corner, they had the old gas heaters. Right, they weren't working, but they were still there, the gas heaters from like 1920s. And it was just a brutal place. It really was. The fucking violence in there. What they used to do in the block down there, it was the only prison didn't have an electronic gate. So when you've got an electronic gate, every time you come in or out, it's registered. Yeah. Down there, it was just a normal gate. So the screws would go out, say lunchtime. They had a club just outside the walls. They go and get pissed out their heads, come in and start on the prisoners. And one of the worst punishments they had in Dartmoor, they used to get you down in the block and they'd make you sit on the floor, and then a 20-stone screw would sit on your shoulders, on your back, forcing your head down between your legs. Fucking nightmarish. You couldn't breathe or anything. Wandsworth as well. I was in Wandsworth in 89, waiting to get shipped to the island, 1990, when the Strange Ways riots kicked off. And we kicked off in Wandsworth as well. We tried to escape. 7 of us. I wasn't on the escape. But there's 5 Cat-A's and us 2, and we ended up fighting the screws for about half hour. And eventually they come and got me, and there was a guy who used to be the strongest man in the world. His name was Mr Taylor. He was the gym screw. He's 22 stone, but he was on all them strongest men things. Yeah. And he was the head of the mufti who come to pick me up. And he went, you walk into the block or you can be carried by us. So I went, I'll walk. As I come out, they walk me down the landing. Everyone's banged up, every single person. You go down to the centre, and they've got this big centre plate, right, and every screw in the nick was there, including the governor. And I'm on my own with the 6 screws behind me. And he went, walk down the stairs, and you had to walk clockwise round the block stair. Yeah. And as I come down the stairs, because we'd attacked all the screws out on the JCB and that, the governor went, draw buttons. And they've all pulled out their truncheons. It's about 70, 80 screws. And they've all started banging them on the fucking floor. As I'm walking round, they're all banging their truncheons on the floor. Because they're all ex-British forces, and they used to see stuff like that in Ireland. So I was shitting myself. Walked round, got to the top of the stairs, and they kicked me down the stairs into the block. There's about 10 stairs down. And there's 4 screws waiting for me. Now, they've already done the other guys, and they've got blood on their shirts, and their shirts are open. They've got no hats on, and their sleeves are rolled up, and they're ready for me. And they've beat the shit out of me, dragged me into a cell. Now, there's a process. When you're going into the block, what they do is, this is how it normally works. They put you in a cell, and then one will stand at the door and go, right, what's your name? They're writing your card out. What's your number? What diet are you on? You know, I mean, vegetarian or whatever. What religion are you? So I am getting battered by 3 screws in the cell. They're ripping the clothes off me, ripping the hairs out my chest, stamping on my bare feet. And like they've got me up the back of the, and meanwhile, there's the PO pretending nothing's wrong at the door. Name, Smith, number. So I've given me number. I'm getting battered all this time. And then he's gone, what diet are you? And I went, I was a veg then. I went, vegetarian. And one of the screws who's beating me up come right up to my face. He's got me ear like that. And he went, you were full of fucking beans this morning, weren't you? You know, when you bashed my mate up. And that was it. They fucking tried to kill us down there. Seriously. I ended up getting a not guilty on it, which was lucky. But
how many times do you reckon you've been beaten?
By screws?
Yeah.
A good 5 or 6 times.
A proper beating?
Yeah, proper.
Give me an example of a proper beating.
Well, the one I had in Rochester, they stamp all over you. What they do is they get, it's called control and restraint. It's jiu-jitsu moves. So they get your arm like that, like one on each arm, and you can't move your fingers and all that. And then they just kick you in the face as you go along because your head's down. And they're wearing boots. That one, they dragged me into the cell. And about 4 of them jumped up and down on my body. I was about 16 and I was a skinny little fucker. Broke me ribs, nearly broke me breastbone, broke me nose, knocked 4 teeth out. And then I've had similar beatings as well over the years. One in Pentonville where they truncheoned me across the head and split my head open. But it was, I won't say it was my fault, but I was one of them kind of geezers, Dodge. Yeah. This is the sort of person I was. I suppose this is a psychopath. I know that if I punch a screw, I'm going to get fucking mullered. All the rest of the screws again. But when I'm arguing with a screw and when I'm in that moment and he's saying, you're fucking not, I can't help it.
Yeah.
I just pick my spot and crack, and I let one go. And I know as soon as he drops to the floor, they're all coming.
Yeah.
But for me, that's the moment of triumph. The beating afterwards is like, you know, you've got your digging, and that's the main thing.
What's that feeling like, though, knowing you've just done a screw, knowing now you're waiting on your bed, waiting to get a beating?
Well, it's mixed, because you feel great that you've knocked him out or you've got a punch in, but you also have then that fear of what they're going to do to you this time. You start thinking, what's going to happen this time? You know, but you can see them all coming towards you. They're running like lunatics with their truncheons out. And I once held up 22 screws in the corridor. I had half a pool cue in Albany. And what happened was, quite a funny story. I come out of the bricks workshop. I was working in bricks. And in the skip outside, there was an office chair. So I said to the bricks geezer, I said, is that getting thrown out? He went, yeah. He said, it needs a bit of fixing. So I said, can I take it back to my cell? He went, yeah, of course you can. It's only going to be thrown out. Took it back to my cell. 3 weeks later, they come in to search me. And there's one of them screws, about 5'4", leather gloves, hat pulled down to there, chewing gum. You know, one of them little geezers who has to make himself look big. So he said, they couldn't find nothing in the cell. And he went, I'm taking this chair. So I went, what? He said, that is not cell furniture. So I said, you had to fucking find something, didn't you? He went, and he smiled at me. And that was it. I picked up the chair. I burst out my cell. I was on the ground floor and the office was down there. I said, you want a fucking chair? Ran down to where the office is with the big windows. They're all sitting in there, and launched the chair straight through the fucking window, right? And it's stuck in the window because it's wire glass. Yeah. And all the screws inside are like, fucking hell. And they battered the light. What they done was then they pressed the bell. So the alarm's gone off, screws are coming from everywhere. So I've ran back to my cell, pushed the screw out of the way, ran back to my cell, got in there, and I had a pull cue. You were allowed a pull cue. And it was in 2 pieces. I got the bottom off, come out my cell. By now they've all come, but the corridor's too narrow for them to get to me. I'm holding off about 10 in front and about 10 behind, and they can't get to me. So the screw's gone to me, the PO's gone to me. Smith, put that down. I swear to you, there'll be no brutality. You can take my word for it. His name was Mr. Monkton. I remember him, P.O. Monkton. So I put it down and went, you better not be fucking lying to me. So I threw it on the floor. They've rushed me. And as they've gone to throw a few punches, he's jumped in and went, no, I promise.
Oh, he did he?
Yeah.
Oh, fair play.
So he marched me down to the block with 6 other screws, put me in the cell. He went, see, I told you. And off he went. He said, I've got to get back to the wing. The other screws from the block come and went, strip. So I went, what? Strip. You have to strip when you go to the... So I'm a bit weary. And as I get down to my boxer shorts, they've steamed into the cell and fucking beat the shit out of me.
Oh,
yeah.
Mate.
And when I see Monkton next, I went, you fucking lying cunt. He said, they're not under me.
Yeah.
But he knew what was going to happen.
Oh, my God. Did you ever come across Charlie Bronson?
Yeah, I love Charlie. He's a good friend of mine. Charlie was, he was like our weapon in the 80s and 90s in the prison system. Everyone liked him because he attacked the screws. Yeah. And the first time I ever see him, I was in Wandsworth, and I see 2 young screws running along, opening a gate, and he's marching behind them, the big bald head. He's got a prison raincoat on and boots, and he's got a big tash, right? And he's just marching along, right? And they're running in front of him to open the gate, because if they don't open the gate, you march straight into the gate. He's like that. And we were all laughing our heads off. He walked straight across the centre where you weren't allowed to walk. And the PO turned around and went, when he see it was him, he went, hello, Charlie. Yeah. So he became our sort of hero because he was our one weapon against the system, if you like. He was forever doing it. And then I got to know him. I was in a cell next to him in High Damp when he knocked the governor out. And I used to talk to him out the window, and I found him really, really amusing, but interesting to talk to.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember I was in Wandsworth Block, and he was in one cell, and there was a geezer called Joe the Greek. He was quite a famous prisoner. Yeah. And Joe the Greek had this thing. He used to cut prison governors with blades, right? He was wanted in Cyprus or Turkey or somewhere, and he had the death penalty. So he didn't give a shit. He wanted to stay in prison over here. So he'd forever be in the block. And what he used to do was he'd make a cut in his skin, right, and then rub it with salt for about 3-4 days until eventually the skin was painless, and he had a little pocket he could put a razor blade in on his own skin. Yeah, so they could strip him. He'd still have a blade on him. They stripped him once in Wandsworth, and he jumped over the counter table and cut the governor's face, pulled a razor blade out of his skin. They eventually sent him back to Turkey and he got shot getting off the plane. But the guys like them would be in the block. And I remember I was out there talking to a mate of mine. You were in cages in the block out on the exercise yard. I was talking to a mate of mine and a screw, one of the horrible screws, went, "Shut your fucking mouth, Smith." And before I could say anything, Joe the Greek was at his window and went, "Cut him, Razor, cut that fucker." Yeah.
Oh, God.
But yeah, it was a terrible time, to be honest with you. Especially the 80s, the prison system was really, really bad. There was no rehabilitation. There's no rehabilitation now, but there weren't none then. And it was just, you knew what you were getting. You knew where people say nowadays, I like the old prison system, you knew where you stood. You knew where you stood because you'd get a punch in the fucking jaw if you didn't know where you stood, you know what I mean?
But the amount of people I've had on the podcast and said who went into prison back in the 80s and 90s or went into the noughties, they were like, back then it was old school naughty gangsters where there was a lot of respect. Yeah. You get into prison now, there's zero respect. No. Everyone's just, you got to watch your back every single move.
They're all on spice and all that shit. In those days it was cannabis and, you know, very little heroin. Heroin fucked the whole prison system up. And then it's now become acceptable to be a grass, to be a rapist. There's people boasting about it. Whereas in my day, if you said anything like that in the London, you'd be stabbed. Yeah. 6 geezers would turn up at your door and kill you. I'd done a load of it. Yeah. I was a member of a firm called Dargan in the top security dispersals in the 80s. And Dargan stood for Direct Action Against Grasses and Nonces. Yeah. And what we used to do was, there was about 20 of us, and we all went to different prisons. And if you suspected somebody on your wing was a nonce or a rapist or a grass, then we would burn their cells out and bash the fucking life out of them. And we ended up spreading it around the top security prisons. And I eventually got shipped out and never done it again. And I'll tell you why. There was a geezer called Stefan Kishko. Probably never heard of him. He was a child rapist and murderer, supposedly, but he was a bit simple. Anyway, his mum campaigned for him all them years to get out that he never done it. He was in for about 20 years. And I seen him in Bristol prison. Me and my pal was down there. And he walked past us and my mate went, "You know who that is?" I went, "No." He went, "Stefan Kishko killed a 7-year-old girl, raped her." So I went, "Oh yeah." And he was old then. He was about 67. So the next day I see him come to the top of the stairs and there was no one about. So I legged it out and fucking elbowed him down the stairs, shoulder barged him, went down, broke his wrist. Never see it was me. And about a year later, I'm watching the telly in another prison and he's been released because they didn't have DNA back in those days. And when they retested the evidence, it wasn't him at all. And they knew who it was. He was nicked for another murder. So he'd spent all them years in for nothing. And I had bashed the shit out of the poor old cunt. And from that moment, I said, I'm not fucking doing it no more. Yeah. If people used to come up to me and go, "See that geezer down there, he's a nonce." And I go, "Is he? Come on, let's fucking do him." Nowadays, after that, people come up, "See that geezer there, he's a nonce." I say, "Well, go and fucking do him then. I'll keep watch." Yeah. You know what I mean? I wasn't doing it. Won't be no one's tool no more. But yeah, I want
to go back. So you've done the 3 years, you've done the 7 years. What was the next stint?
That was another 2 years.
And how long were you after the 7 years? How long were you out for before you got done again for the 2 years?
6 months.
Okay.
I'll tell you what happened. They let me out of Wandsworth. I was doing 2 years for possession of a firearm without license. And they let me out. And because I'd done so much from my time, there's some mix up. And they said, this was Wandsworth Prison. I lived not far in Clapham. And they said, "We're not giving you a discharge grant because the paperwork ain't been put in." So I said, "What, you're releasing me from prison with nothing?" They said, "Yeah, we got a travel warrant, but that's about it." So I said, "All right, I'll just rob a bank." Went down to Tooting from Wandsworth and mooching about, see a building society there. I thought, I'll have that. This the morning I get out of prison. So there's a bin. Go over, look through the bin, McDonald's bag, plastic bottle into the McDonald's bag, and then I've just wrapped my scarf around my face, walked in with a plastic bottle in a McDonald's bag, pretending it was a gun, and walked out with $7,000. So that was the morning.
On the morning you got out after Wandsworth.
Yeah. That's how bad it was. I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And between,
I can sense.
I think it was between 1988 and 2010. Yeah. I had only 13 months out of prison in all. 3 months when I escaped. I was on the run for 3 months, and a year complete that I was out between sentences. Madness.
From 88 to 2010?
Yeah.
My God. Yeah. After you finished that, you got that 2-year sentence then. When was the one when you got the 8 life sentences? Was that the one straight after?
No.
Was there one after that, after the 2 years? What were you banged up again for?
I got 19 years for armed robbery, me and a mate of mine, Knightsbridge Crown Court. And we pleaded guilty to 3 robberies. And I got 19 years and my mate got 13 years. I appealed that. They cut that down to 12. So I'd done that. I got out in 98. I was out for 98 and a lot of 99. Then I got nicked for the Laughing Bank robbers case, 8 robberies. So that's what I got the life for.
So the 8 life sentences were for 8 robberies that you got nicked for.
Yeah.
And the biggest robbery there was the Croydon one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but we were nicking good money in them anyway. There was another firm doing the same as what we'd done, funny enough, well-known firm, and but they had it wrong. They knew that the money was there when it come in, so they robbed the security guards in the bank and ended up having to shoot one in the foot, whereas we waited till the guards were gone and went in. Yeah. But I ended up doing a lot of bird.
Did you ever shoot anyone?
No, not on a robbery anyway. No.
Have you ever shot anyone?
I'm not too sure. I've been in about 3 gunfights, but in the confusion, you never know who you shot. You're just firing off shots at other people when they're firing at you. I got shot at by 2 yardies one time, and I come on them with I ran into the house, got the gun, and it was a double-barrel shotgun, and I forgot I didn't have the ammo with it. It was hidden somewhere else. So I come out with a gun with no ammo in it, and they called my bluff and started shooting at me. So I had to leg it.
Where was that? Brixton?
Clapham.
Clapham, was it?
Yeah. I used to drink in a pub called the Acre Tavern, and it was round the back of there on the estate.
I actually live in Clapham North.
Did you?
Yeah, and then I bought my first. Was it Bedford Road? Was it? Yeah. I bought my first gaff in Brixton.
Oh yeah.
Right next to the prison, it was in year 2000. Like Kingswood Road, I think, something like that. It was madness. Yeah. That was madness back then.
Murder Mile.
Yeah, it was madness.
Yeah.
It was. I couldn't afford Clapham, so I went and brought in Brixton. But now it's all been gentrified, apparently. 25 years later, what have you?
You know what all the posh people call Stockwell?
Yeah.
St. Ockwell.
Yeah. Is that what what they call it?
St. Ockwell, yeah. Fucking Stockwell.
Oh, my God. What was the point in your life when you go, I've got to stop, number one? And do you have any regret on anyone that you've traumatised in any of these robberies?
To be honest, I'll tell you what happened. I was in Whitemore serving the 8 life sentences, waiting to get shipped to... No, I was in Belmarsh waiting to get shipped to Whitemore. I was a Category A. And... no, I was in Whitemore, sorry. I got to Whitemore, and suddenly I got a message that my son had died outside. He was 19. And I'm serving 8 life sentences. I'm a Category A. But everyone was saying, ask to go to the funeral. They got to let you. So I asked the governor if I could go to the funeral. They said, no, we can't take the chance of sending you to the funeral. He said, you're doing 8 life sentences. You've got loads of criminal connections. Your family are there. They could break you out. I said, let me go on my own. I said, on a point of honour, I'll come back. It's my son's fucking funeral. But they said no. And it was after that I'm in prison and I can't even comfort my family when my son's died. And it was after that I said to myself, you know what, there's got to be something fucking better than this, mate. Yeah. I've got to get out. And that's when I applied for Grendon. But, and Grendon was the making of me. Out of that sentence, I'd done 2 years in Belmarsh, 3 years in Whitemore, 5 years in Grendon, then another 2 years in a semi-open prison called Blantyre House, where you could go out to work. So I'd done 12 out of that sentence. It was an 8 tariff. 8. I'd done 12.
Yeah.
So that's what really turned my life around. And the fact is, about regret, I regret it all, mate. Seriously, there's certain people, my son, I couldn't be there when he needed me, you know.
How did he die?
It was an open verdict. He had started following my footsteps, and he robbed someone down in Malden, and he got nicked for it. He was put in Feltham, him and his mate. Funny enough, Justin.
Yeah.
His best
was
mate.
It Justin?
Yeah, they were working together.
Were they?
Yeah. And then he got out of Feltham. And I spoke to him on the phone. I was in Whitemore and I used to phone every Sunday morning home. And I was speaking to him and he sounded really happy. He was working with his granddad. Yeah, everything's going great. I'm not going back to prison again. And about a week later, I was coming back from tea and I looked up the end of the landing and there was a priest up there and I knew once you see some sort of holy person on the landing, it's bad news for someone. So a mate of mine, Bud Armstrong, big Geordie drug dealer, went, here, it's bad news for someone. He went, hey, come up there, it's fucking me. So this priest said to me, you Noel Smith? I went, no. I just knew I didn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
So I went in and closed my cell door, and he come back 5 minutes later and he opened the hatch and he said, Noel Smith. I said, it's not me, mate. You're looking for someone else.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
So he opened the door. He said, look, I'm afraid your son died last night. And I went, fuck off. I went, you got the wrong man, piss off.
Yeah.
And I was just in bits, mate. It fucking killed me. And it was after that I thought, you know what, I can't be coming into prison in my old age and that and fucking about. It's better off I do something. Now, the thing about me was I had no skills. I was a good robber, but I weren't great. And suddenly I thought, you know what, I've got to write a book about this because my son, I've got to leave it for the rest of the family to let them know like what went wrong over the years. And I wrote this book, and I had a mate who I'd met when I was last out. I was with John McVicker, and he introduced me to Will Self, who was a writer who wanted me to advise him on a story he was doing about Wandsworth. So we got on really great, me and Will. And he used to come to visit me when I went back in. And he come up soon after Joe died, and I went, listen, I said, I'm going to write a book. He said, good idea. He said, I'll get it published for you if it's any good. He said, send me 3 chapters. Boom, sent him 3 chapters. Never heard nothing for about 2 weeks. Phoned him up. He said 3 different publishing companies are bidding for it. Mm. He said, I'd go with Penguin. He said, they're offering £30,000 advance. Now, when I give him the book, I said, listen, if I write this book, do you think I'll be able to? What really jarred me was when my son died, all the money I've stolen in my life, my in-laws had to pay for his funeral. And that really jarred me because I didn't get on with them. Mm. So I said, look, I'm looking to earn about 3 or 4 grand in order to pay off my son's funeral. He said, yeah, I'll see what I can do. Come back, 30 grand offer.
Happy days.
I went, fucking hell, I can write.
Yeah.
The book went out. It went all around the world.
Yeah.
I got letters from Hong Kong, Australia, everything. Yeah. Loads of people wanting to get in touch with me. Paid off the funeral. Proudest day in my life. Mm. And, yeah, it was, everything changed from then. Now I suddenly had,
you had 30 grand. You had 30 grand's worth of legit money for the first time.
That,
and then you knew you were good at something.
Yeah. And not only that, I knew how easy it was. So I wrote another book really quickly.
Yeah.
And I got another 30 grand for that.
Okay.
And I'm sitting in jail earning £7 a week and I've got 60 grand in the fucking bank.
Yeah. How did Joe die?
Nobody really knows. He was found hung behind some shops. But he had trouble with other gangs and he also had trouble with the police. The police fucking hated him. And all the CCTV for that night disappeared of the area he was in. And the police got a letter from someone saying that he'd been killed by a certain family for punching their son or something. And loads of people come forward and said what had happened, but it was an open verdict. The coroner couldn't decide. So we don't know. He was found hung in an alley from some stairs.
Oh, God.
It was Justin's best pal.
Yeah.
And I was in jail. And when they told me, I was fucking devastated.
Yeah.
Seriously. And that made me think, you know what, I don't need this shit anymore. I've got to get out and look after my family. Mm. So, yeah, when I had time to slow down and look at it, at my life, and I see what an absolute fucking shit show it was, a mess, chaos. And I thought, you know what, not doing this no more.
Yeah.
Got out. Last time I got parole in 2010. I got out my life sentence. And the first 2 days I was out, I got 3 phone calls from people asking me if I wanted to hold the gun in a robbery.
Straight away.
Yeah.
I'm done.
No, I'm finished.
Yeah.
And one geezer went to 70 grand in it for you. And I was like that.
Yeah.
Wait, how much? Well, that's my share. He went, yeah. I went, no. I said, I ain't doing it no more.
Fair play.
And eventually they got the message.
Mm.
And I had to move down to Hampshire in order to get away from it all because I knew so many criminals in fucking London. And I lived the life of a hermit down there for about 10 years and moved up to London about 3 years ago. Right round me grandkids and my family now.
Very
so,
nice.
yeah. I wouldn't recommend a life of crime to anybody. And that's a serious thing. You might think it's glamorous when you're doing it, but it fucking ain't, mate. It ain't.
I keep hearing the same story. The people who have been on the podcast, and I only get people who've got redemption, right, to come back and go, it's the same story.
Yeah.
None of them gets out alive. Everyone gets banged up. You lose everything. You lose your family.
That's
you lose your
it.
kids. You lose your money. You lose everything around you, and you're left with what?
Exactly.
You know,
and it doesn't matter how hard you think you are. That first night in prison, when you know you're spending another 12, 14 years in there, you know what I mean? You're in bits, mate. I've seen really tough geezers break down and cry because they're in fucking jail the first night. It's just...
I can't believe, like, to actually put it into sort of words that you spend in 35 years in all these different prisons.
Yeah.
It's bonkers. I've had John Massey on.
Ah, John, yeah.
Lovely fella.
Yeah.
He did 43 years behind bars. And then you look at Charlie Bronson, who's just done over 50 years beyond. Is he ever going to get out?
I think they'll do the same to him as they done to Reggie Cray. Is when he's so infirm and dying, they will let him out for his last 2 weeks or so.
Okay.
Because I like Charlie.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't like to live next fucking door
No.
to him, I got to tell you. But he's a kind-hearted geezer.
Yeah.
Really, even though he's a big lump of it, he's not that fucking big, but he's a lump of a geezer who don't feel pain.
Yeah, okay.
And I'll give you an example. I was in a block I think it was in Bristol, and Charlie was there on the lie down. And there was a kid who was next door to us. He was about 20. And he was crying all the time, his first time in prison. So Charlie went, why don't you turn a fucking radio on or read a book or something? He was talking out when he said, I ain't got a radio. So next morning, they let Charlie out for slop out, and there's a cleaner in the block who's a prisoner, and he has his cell open all the time. His cell was open, he's out mopping, and his radio's on the table. Charlie walked straight over, picks his radio up. He went, I'm lending this to that kid, all right? You'll get it back when he's gone. And the cleaner went, what?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, and he's got to screw open the kid's door.
Yeah.
Screw, well, we can't open the fucking door. What do you want me to do? Slide it underneath and went and give him a radio. You know what I mean? He's a kind-hearted fella, but he just can't help himself.
Yeah.
Like, if you wind him up enough, he goes off.
Is there been any time when you've been in prison where you feared for your own life?
Loads of times.
Yeah.
Are you fucking mad? Prison runs on paranoia and violence.
Yeah.
That's what the top security prisons run on. Not your locals, although there is plenty in there. You've got to imagine this, Dodge, right? You're on a spur, say in Whitemore, and there'll be 60 men on that spur, all in single cells, and you walk along that spur and you look at their cars, 25 years, 35 years.
Is that outside each side cell? So you know who's in there? And that was like, right, okay.
35 years, life, 6 lives, 8 lives, 10 lives. And they're all serious people. Otherwise, they wouldn't have got there in the first place. And you just think, do you know what? I could die at any moment on it. And people did. People got killed all over the place. At one stage, I don't know if you know this, David Wilson, Professor David Wilson, who I work with a lot, used to be a prison governor. And he told me, he said that recently at one stage, there was you were 7 times more likely to be murdered in prison, in a British prison, than you were outside in any of the no-go areas like the slum areas.
Yeah.
7 times more likely to be murdered in jail. Think about that. I've seen people, there's so many mentally ill people in jail because they don't, they just put them in there, yeah. And I've seen people, this is God's honest truth, get opened up in the morning with everyone else and come out wrapped in a sheet with a table leg and a Bible, saying they're going to kill every sinner on the wing and go around bashing people or stabbing people until they get brought down. It's a nightmare place. You don't know who's coming out of the cell in the mornings.
Is there any names that you've been to prisons you go, and that geezer is the seriously dangerous person, I don't want to be anywhere near him?
There's been a few, probably people you've never heard of.
Yeah,
seriously. Whoa, fucking hell. What's his name, who killed the 4 prisoners? I'll tell you, used to be a bad fucker as well. Yemi B. He's got a podcast now.
Yeah,
I always got on great with Yemi.
Yemi's been on the podcast.
Has he?
Yeah.
I'll tell you why I got on great with him.
Yeah.
His whole existence was around heroin, like robbing people and stabbing people in jail for heroin. I've never taken heroin. Yeah. And he knew that. So I remember one day we were in Parkhurst, Albany rather, on the Isle of Wight, and I'm sweeping the floor, and he comes up to me and he went, and he's hanging about. I said, yeah, what are you doing? Because he used to have really long hair. He looked like Red, didn't he? Yeah. I said, what are you doing, Yemi? He went, a geezer up there is on a visit. He said, I'm going to rob him when he comes back, got the tool. I said, well, you going to stab him? This is just prison talk, casual talk. You going to stab him? Yeah, I might do. It depends if he puts up a fight. And then he's there waiting for the geezer. And then he went, Razor, Uncle Razor. He went, I really wish you were addicted to heroin. I went, what? Why? He said, me and you would be a great robbery team in the system. I went, thanks for that, you fucking muppet. But yeah, I mean, there's people in there who would stab you as soon as look at you. I mean, there's loads of them.
Yeah.
You go into a top security jail, and I think maybe 30% of the prisoners are in for murder,
Yeah.
GBH with intent, you know, just mad attacks on the street. When you read about someone, say, getting their ear chopped off in the street, that geezer's going to be your next door neighbour in fucking prison who chopped the ear off, and nobody knows why he done it.
Yeah.
So
on those cards, then, when someone says 25, 20, 2 life sentence, does it say underneath what for? Or have you got to go and find? You got to go and find out.
But the thing is, what we used to do was in Albany prison, we used to. They were sneaking so many undercover people onto the wing who were actually should have been on the numbers, that we decided to do something about it. So all of the prisoners decided to hang their depositions, their charge sheet outside their cell as well, so you could know what they were in for.
Yeah.
And the people who didn't have to be off the wing by nightfall.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting rid of a load of wrong uns.
What about like when you've got big lumps coming into prison? Are you all waiting there going, there's a new geezer coming in? Everyone's got to walk past your cell, there's a new geezer coming in. Is everyone sort of like sussing him out? Or do you ever hear rumours of people coming to prison?
Of course.
Yeah, okay. So you know. So what was with your reputation at the time, which was massive around a UK prison, when you're going to a prison, are you like, people know I'm going to turn up, Razor's on his way? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'd always get, I'll tell you, it was a good mate of mine, Vicky Dark.
Yeah.
Right, East London boy.
Yeah.
Vic, I got to eye down one time, and Vic was like on the wing.
Mm.
And by the time I got down to my cell, they put me in a single cell. He had got me a brand new telly from the stores and a brand new mattress and snout and everything. It's like that in prison. If you're known, people will fucking help you out when you get there. But Vic was a dangerous man, very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, with his fists, he's a martial artist.
Yeah.
Apart from the fact he shoots people.
Yeah.
But Vic was lovely. Do you know when he got shipped out of? I was in Albany with him, and he was in a cell. He was on the landing above me, and they got steel doors in Albany. And he got shipped over to Parkhurst for slamming his door. Every night when he had to bang up, he'd grab the door with both hands and boom, the whole wing would shake. And they went, fucking get him out of it. Yeah.
Moving forwards, like today, where you're at today, you've been out of Nick now for 15 years.
Yeah.
As you are today, are you happy?
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
Happiest I've ever been, I think. I've got my children around me and my grandchildren, finally.
Yeah.
I love my grandchildren. They've all grown up to be really nice people and very smart. And I work still for Inside Time. I'm working for home since COVID, but I love the job, you know, and it allows me to, and I do a few bits and pieces. I haven't really since COVID. I used to do a lot of university talks and school talks and stuff like that. But yeah, I've had 2 strokes. I had one in 2018 and I had one this year, which they said was going to kill me. And it very nearly did. And I've got dementia, and the brain damage I've got from being hit over the head so many times over the year. Apparently they're doing another test in 3 months. I have them every year. They're doing a brain scan about Alzheimer's. I'm young to have it, but it started already in my brain. So, yeah. So I say to myself, my dad died about a month ago, and my dad was 20 years older than me. And I always had that kind of thing, like when my dad dies, I've got 20 years left.
Yeah.
But I don't think I have.
No.
I don't think I have. I mean, I'm on those build-up drinks because I can't eat.
Yeah.
And I went down. They said last time I went into hospital, they said I was close to starvation, malnutrition. So they give me the build-up drinks. But I don't have nothing to do with criminality anymore. I read a lot about prisons because I work for the prisons newspaper, the National Prisons newspaper, and I have to keep in touch. But I still get letters in. I deal with the letters. And I still get letters in every month, 350 to 400 letters of people complaining about things that I was complaining about in prison 30 years ago.
Okay.
Nothing
changed. Okay.
No.
Okay.
So, yeah, I feel happy now, and I feel as though I never want to go back to prison again in my life. It would make me sick, seriously, to read.
I don't think you'll be going back.
I don't even like Kevin Lane is a good mate of mine.
Kevin's
as well.
been on, yeah.
I was in Whitemore with Kevin, but he was recently jailed in Highdown, which is just down the road from my house. And he sent me a VO and asked me, and I got the horrors, mate.
Yeah.
I could not go into that prison.
What, going in now, the fear of it? No, okay.
Yeah, I spent 6 years in there.
Yeah.
And I said, sorry, Kev, I can't. Like, and he wrote back and said, yes, don't worry about it. You know, I mean, I understand. But Kevin is a nice fellow. I've been through a lot of bird with him. Yeah. But I couldn't actually, if I went back into prison again and they gave me a sentence, a big sentence, I would deal with it. And I've thought about this by becoming just the biggest fucking nuisance they had. I'd be attacking them, hoping they'd kill me.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, that's what I like Jimmy Boyle.
Yeah.
I just hope they fucking kill you and put you out of your misery. So I'd do that because I can't keep quiet.
Yeah.
Even though I probably can't hold my hands up now, I'm a little skinny.
Razor, I've absolutely loved this.
Oh, thank you.
It's been fascinating.
I hope people get something out of it.
Yeah.
You know, prison ain't life, mate. No. Neither is crime. It's wrong.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
And any of those people, I was just going to say it a minute ago, any of those people who were in those robberies when they were on the floor feel traumatised, is there anything you would, if you saw any of them now and they went, yeah, I was in that robbery, anything you'd say to them?
Yeah, see, I was your typical criminal in that I made everyone into cardboard cutouts.
Yeah.
It's easier if you don't think they're human. You can do what you like. And it wasn't until I went through Grendon 5 years of therapy that I discovered empathy. Well, I had to learn it. It wasn't something that came naturally to me. And I can kind of get it now. And then this will give you an idea of how far I've come. I was married when I first got out. I got married. And my wife was in a robbery up in Croydon. What happened was she was in a Tesco's or something where they have a post office in there. And she was shopping and three kids has come in, jumped over the counter, big knives, and started robbing the place. And she was about 2 rows away from it, saw it all, traumatised her for about another year. She used to, even though she never thought she was, she'd wake up in the night screaming and all that, thinking they were going to kill her. And that really brought it home to me as well, because in Grendon, they said, think about your victims. And I used to be I was like a typical armed robber. I ain't got no victims. When I rob a bank, I don't shoot anybody and they just put a penny on interest rates or whatever. But no, mate, every bank I went into, 20, 30 people, and they were terrified. You know, I didn't really think of it at the time because I was doing what I was doing. Yeah. But now that I think about it, I remember one, I've got to tell you this one, it's funny. I robbed the Midland Bank, right?
One of your favourites.
Yeah, in Balham, on my own. Yeah. And when I got the crowd all up the end, there were about 10 of them, they're all up the end of the bank while I'm at the counter. And one kid's just got his arms up like that, and I notice he's got a fucking gold Rolex on. So I'm looking over at him. I said, nice watch, mate. I said, is that a real Rolex? I'm getting the money over the counter. So he went, yeah. And he starts taking it off. I went, what are you doing? He said, I'll give it to you. I don't need your fucking watch, mate. I'm robbing the bank. I just said it's a nice watch. I was making conversation. But that's how much people take you on face value. He thinks I'm going to shoot him if he doesn't give me his watch. I was just complimenting his watch.
But he don't know.
No.
He don't know whether you're going to be a madman and shoot. No one knows. So imagine you being a bloke experiencing that, but imagine a girl or a woman experiencing it on the floor, armed robbery, you see it on telly, it's actually happening to them. Must be horrific for us. Nightmare for yeah.
But I mean, the only thing I can say in my own defence, and it's really not a fucking defence, is that I never actually physically assaulted anyone during a robbery or fired a shot or stabbed anyone. Some people just go and squirt ammonia in people's faces, but I was never one of them. We always classed ourselves as gentlemen bank robbers. Yeah. In reality, we were just dirty, fucking, horrible, greedy thieves with guns. Yeah. That's what we were, mate. Yeah. Glad I'm not in jail still.
Yeah. I couldn't think of anything worse, to be honest with you. Fair play. Razor, like I said, mate, I've really enjoyed this. Thank you for your honesty.
No worries.
And it's lovely to see redemption.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know everyone around here hasn't got redemption and gone round and, you know, whether they found God or whether they've totally hands up and regret the things or whatever it may be, but it seems like you've got full redemption. And
oh, man, yeah. I just, the thing is, I still get the instinct for it. And by that, I mean, I can be, even today, I haven't committed a robbery since 1999. Yeah. Today, I can be walking past a bank down in the high street, see a security guard and look at me watch and mark it. 10 o'clock. Yeah, I'm not going to do anything, but it's just like an old war horse hearing a bugle. Oh, that looks easy. Yeah.
It's mad though, the high streets these days, all the banks are boarded up and closed up these days. It's nothing to rob.
It's a dead game, bank robbery. It's gone.
Yeah.
So,
Razor, I really appreciate you coming down.
No worries.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah,
Thanks for your honesty and talk about eventful lives.
Yeah.
That is one eventful life you've lived.
Yeah.
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 I wish you all the best in your later years
Thank
as
you,
well.
mate. Nice one.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I like that pound note over there.
That's a pound note, do you know that?
Yeah, nicked a few of them.
No, they're same. But Mum, I always talk about pound notes.
Yeah,
This
me.
bloke wrote in,
Yeah.
found out the address for the studio, wrote in this beautiful letter, goes, every time you're on here, you're talking about pound notes, earning a pound note. He's got to send a pound note. So
Lovely.
we framed it.
Lovely.
Fair play.
Yeah, it reminds me of the old days.
Mate, good days.
Yeah.
Nice one. Razor.
Great
Good man.
stuff.
I wish you all the best.
Cheers, Dodge.
Yeah.
Nice one, mate.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Brilliant.
Good man. Cheers. Thanks for watching, guys. If you'd like to see someone on the show, leave a comment below. And if you haven't already, do us a favour, show us a bit of love, press the subscribe button, and that allows us to grow the show even bigger and bigger each week. Nice one.